we're on, but
Yeah, I'll be over to get some as soon as I can.
Okay.
A couple of bags, and my area is 8 by 10. It's kind of small, but I need that much. We get the compost stuff from the highway department. Near where I live, they chip it all up. It's really dark and rich. A lot of lumps in it, but it'll work.
Is one maple or two?
one.
One? I think he had. Okay.
Listed as one.
Yeah.
One maple.
Yes, right one. Did a cease and desist.
Good evening. Welcome to the Sutton Conservation Commission meeting, Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017. 7 p.m., 1 Maple Street. We have John and Julia Palucia.
John Palucia.
Thanks for coming in, John. Brandon, if you ready?
Yeah, I gotta download the pictures, but
Okay.
you can start.
Got a call today from, I believe it was the town, about some work being done. So if you want to just come on up and tell us what's going on, that'd be great.
What I'm basically doing is putting a lawn in. The original guy that owned the house did a hydro seed and it never took. So I'm redoing the lawn and actually building a little wall to try to keep everything from flowing down to the lake.
Okay.
The call was about the roadway or whatever going up there, and that was on town property, so that's why we got the call.
Yep. That is gonna be fixed tomorrow.
And there's no erosion controls and no,
That will be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
and you need to file to get permission to do what you're doing.
Okay, will I do that here? Not here, but at the building.
No, here.
With Wanda, she'll give you the
But
paperwork.
we'll have to discuss on what you should file,
Okay.
so.
Brandon, you want to pull that up? We have some.
Yeah, I gotta copy and paste the pictures.
Only a check, don't worry about it.
No, you need to see it.
Crawling. They're bad. Bad.
But they like you.
Colleague,
Eucalyptus and pennyroyal. They don't like the smell of
Which side is the lake, do you know?
I think to the left of the picture, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So you must have been going up. Is it to the left of the house to get into the backyard?
Correct.
Could I
He'll
wait?
show
Just put it
you.
up on screen.
Yeah.
Just-
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, can't get,
And
actually have a garage now. That we
Can't get around.
Door on both sides, we're using the
do
garage
you
now.
have the file for this?
yeah.
Right here.
All right. So yeah, so I was already in town when I found out about this, so I didn't bring any material with me from my office to, help remember what was going on here, what was allowed, what was, any new work that's being done without a permit. I think it's pretty clear that this access path right here, not only is it on town property, it's also on the dam, partially on the dam. But it's gonna get cleaned up tomorrow. Seeded, I recommend putting some straw on top of it as well.
Mhm.
Want any jute matting on it, or would that,
Yeah.
you don't need
I
that?
think, it's not that steep.
Okay.
Okay. let's go through the pictures. So then, we got up to the top and we saw this. We saw a stonemason working on the stone wall, and, you know, the machinery and other materials on the right, and approximately the area of, if you remember, it's 2000, I want to say 2015, that, 2015, the commission issued a notice, order of conditions for the Title V septic upgrade because it's so close to Stevens Pond. Okay. Seth LaJoy was the sanitarian that worked on that. So I do not remember the commission permitting any kind of stone wall. And I'm trying to remember exactly, you know, what was going on as far as what was allowed and what was not allowed. I'm trying to think about the garage. I don't remember the garage. Do anybody remember the garage being
No, we
added
can
on
ask.
to it? I just remember being a straight septic repair.
When did you put the garage in,
I did not, I bought the house with the garage on
the
it.
garage? Do you know if you had an a certificate of compliance for the septic system?
Yes, we have it right here in the
Yeah,
file.
okay.
Could you tell me what this little thing right here is for? It's like cement
That's
encased
like
in
the
wood.
blocks, isn't it?
The first I've seen it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna actually have a swing. He's gonna put a couple of those, that we have a swing my father-in-law made. We're gonna put out there, we're just gonna put a couple of those in to balance it.
That's right on the bank. I also remember it being pretty brushy in here. I'll go through some of the old pictures. So this right here is what I don't remember,
Again, I bought the house with the garage on it.
okay? It's very new.
Yeah.
It is new.
It is? Well, that's, when was that picture taken though?
Oh, this last picture,
When'd you buy the house?
2016.
Late October, early November,
Oh, this year,
last year.
last year?
Okay, the garage was put in January of 2017, it says. The building permit,
Maybe that was-
January 2017?
that's what it says.
That's
The
after
Building
you.
permit was issued for the garage.
house was
yet
remodeled. Yeah.
There was no routing slip?
Yep,
I didn't.
because that wasn't the garage that was there when the septic system was done.
I don't believe there was a garage.
No, there wasn't
There
a
wasn't a
garage.
garage, you could walk right through, which is why I was, when I saw that little access path was put in, I'm like, why did they do that? You can just go around the right side of the house. And I said, well, there's a garage. But then again, there's a door in the front, and there's also a door in the back. So, anyway, it's gonna get fixed, so I'm happy. Yeah, the pine tree got limbed,
That was there when I bought the house.
yeah. Nobody saw that. So, we'll go back a little bit. The septic system is somewhere in this area right here, if I remember right.
That was there when I bought the house.
Yeah,
Right,
it
so
was a new,
all this dirt and the equipment is going over the leach field, and I,
That was all dirt. That's why I'm putting a new lawn in, because that never grew.
right, it was all dirt because they replaced the septic system in the leach field.
Right. And he hydro-seeded it, and it never grew, so that's why I wanted to put a lawn in. You okay with that?
I got ticks crawling all over me.
Stay away. Stay over there.
Yeah, it's the
Take
worst
them
year
home,
ever.
still have 5 cats.
Okay, so let's go back in time here and see what it used to look like. pictures. June 3rd, 2015. No garage, so you can go right through. This is what the backyard looked like. And remember the septic system being proposed right in here. And yeah, a lot of shrubbery and brush along the bank of the pond. A lot of Japanese knotweed too. That's still there.
Correct.
I didn't go that far back.
That hasn't changed.
Yeah, this is what it looks like.
A lot of that brush is not there.
So basically, it's a lot of lawn with a lot of brush on the right-hand side that I don't remember the commission giving authorization to clear right on the bank of the pond.
That was cleared when I moved there.
Yeah, there's none of that there. Your last picture,
Where?
keep going back to, nothing is there. Nope. Yep. None of that is there.
None of this brush is here?
Correct.
That tree isn't there either. One of them.
You know, one of these
That one
trees?
is. That one is,
Those are there.
But there's other trees that are gone?
yes.
Okay. Come back up.
No fence.
Yeah. Fence is gone?
Fence is gone. Japanese bamboo is still there.
Yeah. Cut down.
Correct.
This pine tree?
That, I think that's the one that's apparently limbed.
That's the one that got limbed,
Right.
so you'd have a better lake view, I'm sure. Alright, that's the beginning. Let's see, I got one more set of pictures. Went back on October 21, and that's the leach field. Right, and they had the erosion controls up. So it's right in the middle of the backyard where all the dirt and equipment is right now. I don't know if you can see, there's a little shed right here.
Yep.
That's a good point of reference for all of this when you look at that. All right, let me quickly look at this. You have the plan, Wanda? Yeah, open it up. Okay. House was built in 1900. The majority of the property is developed. And I'm reading this from the special conditions. Steep drop-off next to Stevens Pond. The primary project purpose is to upgrade a non-conforming septic system with a Title V compartment. The system will be located entirely within lawn on the south side of the house and within 100 feet of the bank of Stevens Pond. At its closest, erosion controls will be within 14 feet of Stevens Pond. No mitigation for unavoidable impacts to the AWRA of Stevens Ponds was required. However, because the septic system was A, placed in a practicable location, and B, was placed entirely within existing lawn. So it was a pretty straightforward application. When I went back in October to look at this erosion control line, it was right where it was supposed to be, which is entirely within the lawn. It's 14 feet between the erosion control and the bank, which is here in this the brush. It almost looks like an apple tree.
There is an apple tree.
Yeah, is it still there?
Yep.
Okay. So any cutting and clearing that was done along the bank was done without a permit. The limbing of the tree was done without a permit. The construction of the stone wall is being done without a permit.
Garage.
The garage was constructed without a permit. Yeah, what is this? Existing garage. There's no existing garage there. Let me check something real quick. Plan of record approved with the final revision date of July 1, 2015. What's the date on this? Nine-six, this is the as-built added, so this must have come afterward. Where'd you get this from?
File.
From the file, yeah, but where'd it come from to get into the file?
What's in there? Sutton, really.
Did that come in as,
Okay, here's the one that doesn't show the garage, just here's the report. This one's dated July 1st,
that's the
2015.
right one?
Yeah, but that must be, is that an upgraded one?
I don't know. Anyway, this,
This one is signed.
the clearing along the bank, the limbing of the pine tree, the construction of the stone wall, the garage. You know, need something.
Stone wall's the only thing I'm doing, everything else was done.
Still need something.
What was the order of conditions? Not order conditions, certificate of compliance?
Can you get the certificate of compliance one?
Brandon, while she's looking, can you pull the picture up of the property before the garage was built? Just to see what it looked like? I think you have that, right?
I do.
Here's the purchase certificate.
So that was open land, right? Doesn't appear anything
It was
was,
open, right, so,
cut.
and if I was to, I'll get the picture of the, what it looks like with, that's what it looks like now.
So you built the garage?
We did not, I bought the house with a garage.
Then if the building permit was issued in January,
The as-built shows, the upgraded as-built shows the existing garage.
What's the date on the plan? Well, the,
It says the addition was 9/6/16.
And the as, and the certificate
As-
of compliance is October 19, so.
of which year? 16?
16, so 16, and
Because the as-built does show the garage. So this would be upgraded.
did the building permit just get signed off of, possibly after he bought the prop?
No,
Garage
was there when he bought it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
why would it say the
I-
garage permit's 2017?
Because that's when it was built.
Bought the house in 16,
Right.
Bought the-
with the garage on it, right?
Basically November 1st,
Yes,
October
yes.
30th, November 1st, with the garage on, yes.
The garage was put
And I had to
on
wait for it to
January.
get inspected before Norm would sell it to me.
Okay,
can I cut through the red tape?
yeah.
I don't think the construction of the garage is really a problem. Just, you gotta deal with the issues, you know, the disturbance in the backyard right now. Particularly the cutting and clearing along the bank. I think that's the real area of concern. Erosion controls have to go up, but
Well, I can honestly say we didn't cut or clear anything
No, that was
based
like that when I
upon your
bought it.
old pictures. I'm going to Auburn Windwater first thing tomorrow morning to get the wattles, and I'll put those up, and I'll, have them staked in.
but still it's done and it was never permitted, so.
What was cut, was it?
all the brush along the bank.
Yeah, I know, but
Brush
what,
along the bank, and one of the pine tree, there was apparently
limbed.
some lower limbs, and somebody cut them back up.
but didn't you say that was all knotweed that was cut?
No, not
No,
all.
And there was a lot of knotweed, but there was still a lot of woody
Okay.
brush there, which is good for bank stabilization and creating a buffer between, stormwater runoff and things like that, and provides wildlife habitat. So,
So we need a notice of intent for the wall.
and for whatever they want to try to keep or mitigate for along the bank, I recommend keeping the bank as well vegetated as possible.
Mhm.
There's no intentions of touching the bank, that's not my scope of work.
Understood, but the previous owner did the work.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, unfortunately, it's the current owner that's on the hook.
The lucky guy.
And the whole
I have
entire,
a way out. I have a way out. I think that Mr. Palucha was to do some mitigation work to get rid of the Japanese knotweed, and then just let the bank grow in naturally. Submit that notice of intent. I think that would overcome any adverse impact.
Be happy to do that.
What would your recommendation be to take care of the knotweed? Is
Knotweed has to be done with chemicals.
Roundup is okay?
No,
Okay. Because that was don't laugh, but that was a recommendation that had given to the builder to destroy it.
right.
Which I thought was
There's,
uncharacteristic to that environment.
right.
But
There is,
it was told, I think, to John, that was what they recommended to use.
there's a class of herbicides that only kill broadleaf plants, and they don't kill grass. Now, Roundup is under the category called glyphosate.
Roundup will take care of anything.
It'll kill everything, including the grass, and we don't want that.
Mhm.
And any kind of grasses or herbaceous vegetation growing up on the bank, you want to try and preserve. So the other, and I can't think of the other class
I'm thinking of kind of,
right now. It's called, I can't even think of the particular brand.
I have some in my shop, I know what it is.
Yeah, but it's also in the category of aquatic safe herbicide.
Okay.
It's at the tip of my tongue. That's what I would recommend using. And the Japanese knotweed, you have to hit usually for several years.
Oh, yeah, it's
So it's
extremely invasive.
It's a long-term project. But there has to be this notice of intent, so there's gonna be a new plan. All right, so that's an expense you're gonna have to incur. I know Seth LaJoy did this, but Seth LaJoy is no longer in business. I don't know who he works for now, so you might have to find somebody else.
Okay.
You want the swing set, right? That's right on the bank.
Yeah.
Got to show that,
Okay.
and the commission will deliberate whether or not the merits of that. Show the stone wall, and any other kind of stabilization, like the yard in the backyard, where the lawn is. I imagine you're gonna want to put it back into lawn again, right?
Mhm.
Okay, show that. Show the as-built, of the house, of the garage anyway.
unfortunately, your whole entire lot is in jurisdiction because it's 200 feet from the pond. So anything you do has to be filed for.
Okay. Understood.
So if you got anything else you want to do,
That's enough, believe me.
yeah, while you're going through this,
Yeah, might as well.
put it on the plan.
Yeah.
So-
The tough part about this is that you're gonna have to cease and desist all activity until the permit is obtained.
With the exception of erosion control.
Yes, they're doing that
And,
tomorrow.
and the cleanup of the
Right,
The path.
entrance
Like that. Yeah,
path.
that'll be done tomorrow.
No, when is the
Deadline.
file?
Well, he probably wants to come back in as soon as possible to get your lawn going, right?
I'll do it right now or tomorrow
Well, you
morning.
can't.
Take it back.
No, but
Well-
for the next,
He's gonna
Yeah.
file a notice of intent,
Yeah.
which is
Need it
no
by
small
tomorrow.
task.
okay, so he's gonna
So
need,
I don't know anybody right now that's gonna be able to do it in 2 weeks. Right, everybody out there, unless they're a brand-new startup.
Who,
Doesn't have
what
it.
engineering firm?
Yeah, an engineering firm, survey firm, everybody is out straight right now. I can't just recommend anybody, but when you're right now, everybody is crazy busy right now. I'd say, at least a month. At least a month.
If we get it to you sooner, does that work?
That's great.
No, I need it by tomorrow to get on the next
Goodness.
meeting. It has to be 2 weeks.
that's not,
Um,
It's not happening.
mm. Now,
How about a deadline of 1 month
To
to
submit
get it
it.
in? And if there's any issues with timing with the engineer, you can just give a call.
that gives you till
Yeah.
May 25th to get the
Right.
paperwork to me.
But it can't be open-ended, because then, who knows when you're gonna come back.
Okay.
But I'm sure you're incentivized, right? Okay. Notice of intent within a month?
Yeah.
You
Do
wanna
you have
vote?
any paperwork I need to fill out now? Or take with me to fill out?
Do you
Wanda,
want
could you
a
get
notice
in
of intent
first?
form, Wanda?
We have to officially do the cease and desist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you should ratify a cease and desist.
Okay, make a motion to issue a cease and desist on 1 Maple.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Wanda's gonna get you the paperwork, and then 1 month. Sounds like you guys are eager to get an engineer, so hopefully get someone real quick.
Okay.
Good. Wanda, you gonna give him what he needs tonight?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the papers together.
You'll need to have a DEP number and post that.
Eventually. Any questions? You Understand everything?
Pretty much, yeah, should be all set.
You're better than me then.
Well,
I don't understand at all.
The only thing I'm gonna say is it's a little torn up now, so it would be beneficial to everybody if we get to plant some grass as
Yep.
soon as possible, You wait a month, it's gonna be, so,
I don't think anybody's gonna prevent you from doing temporary control measures for the erosion.
right. Okay.
I think what he just said is he's going to encourage you to stabilize that dirt with some grass seed.
Which, so something that'll keep it in place. All set?
Good.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll just wait for one to grab that.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thank you, appreciate it.
7:05, now 7:25. It's a public hearing for 17 Southwick Road.
New filing.
17 Southwick Road, the Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017 at 7:05 PM at the Sutton Town Hall, 4 Bridge Road, Sutton. Purpose of this hearing is to review a notice of intent submitted to the Conservation Commission by Renee Fontaine, Sutton, Mass. The project consists of removing two dead oak trees within the resource area on map 31, parcel 132 on 17 Southwick Road in Sutton.
Just
Welcome.
It's rainy, isn't it?
Rainy.
like a rainy day.
He's not French.
That's, it's all good.
Like rainy heave it.
Oh, thank you for your time. I do have 2 trees on my property, 2 oaks. I did take, I believe it was yourself I talked to the other day.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your time, I do appreciate that. I found out Thursday evening, I need to approach an arborist. Yeah, I know a couple of you weren't here. I tried real hard. Most of them have no interest in talking to me for 2 trees. But I do have some pictures that I did send, and I did take your notes, and I wrote a picture, and I spilled coffee on it, so I apologize in advance of where, if you mind if I approach you guys? Oh, okay.
Just come on up.
So basically, here's if I look at over here, here's the front of my house, my garage, the door my kids go into the garage each day, and this is the left side of my house, the right, so front, back, and here are the 2 trees. This tree over here is, and if you look at the pictures, I know I submitted some pictures, it is completely rotted in the middle, and when you watch the high winds, you can see this thing coming down this way, and when this tree snaps, it's going to take out the whole side of my house. If you don't have the pictures, I do have some pictures on my phone.
One, do
that
we
I
have
did-
pictures for this? 17
I did
Southwick?
submit. Basically, I provided the other night,
Let's see the file.
Oh, here.
Something's gotta be wrong.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's the big knot, right, so yeah, if you look at them, they're 2 of the trees are completely knotted, and they're hollowed, and it looks like the red ants is what invaded
yeah.
them. If you're taking them, they're completely hollow.
The little tiny ones?
The little tiny ones. And I just basically wanted to call tree 1, tree 2. And I got some color ones on here, if you guys want to see a little bit more
Oh,
depth
yeah.
on them. But these things are leaning right towards my house. And I did call the insurance company the other day, and only because I'm like, listen, property damage on that front. And there's a couple more if you want me to show you there. But again, I tried my hardest to get an arborist. And actually, if I show you where it's leaning, there's just another picture. And I did actually, in case you guys take a ride down there, I did have 2 red flags on there. But at this point, I really need to get these trees removed because they're gonna snap. Now, I also wrote in there, I've already planted close to 20 white pines in my backyard over the past 5 years. Those have grown from 5 to 6 feet to, I actually have some that are over 20 feet right now in my backyard, so they love the water. There's a lot of water in the backyard. And I'm happy to plant, a half a dozen of those back in there in replacement.
White pines snap easily.
They're growing really, really good in the backyard, but yes.
They like the water, suck up the water.
They do suck up the water. The main part of the water where this is right now is if I showed you the picture over here. When the builder built the house, there was like a 34-foot line between here to where it kind of dropped off. The wetlands is actually back over here, so when they flagged it, the wetlands were probably about another 60 to 70 feet in where the blue lines were, but I'm still going, it's within 100 feet. And the only water that comes from over here, which was permitted when they built the house, is I actually have, they're called French drains or some drains, so that the only water in this area is actually just coming from when it rains. The water comes in over here and comes in the area from the house. So my request to you is I really would like to take these 2 trees down. Happy to replace them. If white pines aren't the good thing, happy to find something else. I mean, I work with the farmer's daughter. The gentleman up there is really nice. He'll point me in the right direction of what trees to pick. But I just really need my family and my house to remove those 2 trees.
Well, I don't think it takes an arborist to know that those have got issues. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with them coming down.
Have you been by it, Brendan?
I haven't, I was thinking,
Do you want to look
I
at
was
it?
gonna rely on the arborist. I mean, this is a situation where an arborist letter is really everything. So, I was expecting an arborist letter tonight, which you don't have any,
And I did tell them, most of them didn't want to approach me for 50 to 60 days.
right? So,
All we have is from Templeton, which you probably saw, not an arborist letter, but 2 trees right side of the house need to be taken down, showing signs of major decay. Carpenter ants and root systems are loose, and it is signed by, can't read his writing, but
Stephen, yes.
Stephen from Templeton Tree.
And I do have the pictures if you'd like to look as
Stephen's
well.
right.
But the middles are absolutely raw.
I don't need to see, we get this kind of thing all the time.
Yeah.
The criteria under the policy is that you need to hire a licensed arborist, and the arborist has to write a letter saying that the trees are in imminent danger of life and or property. And then what you do is you plant a tree for every one that comes down in a similar location. So that's the policy. If you'd like to give a waiver to the policy, that's the commission's prerogative.
Fopham, you know what Fopham's farm stand is?
Yep.
Their son is a licensed arborist just down the road.
Okay.
Depends what everybody else wants to do.
Does anyone in the public have any comments on this?
Remember, Mr. La Rochelle is listening intently.
Yes.
Everybody else needs a letter.
Yeah. No one on this board is going to tell you can't take the trees down. I'm speaking for everyone, but we're not going to have a problem with it. So I am speaking for everyone. The protocol is everyone has to get a letter. So if we don't do a letter from one and then it
And I'm happy to file a certificate of emergency if that's what you guys would like to do as well.
Then someone has to, if they're gonna do an emergency certificate, someone, me or someone else, has to go to the site and really assess it ourselves to see whether it's really an emergency situation. And that's, emergency is a relative term.
I mean, I'm happy to show you the color pictures of the picture.
how far off the house are they?
35 feet.
Have to see it.
I have the map right here that you're
And
asking me
I
about.
would recommend that maybe one of you go there as well if it's an emergency situation.
There's the,
Right here,
There's
right
no
tomorrow.
tree.
Yeah, and then you can come in
Yeah.
tomorrow or something.
and
Sign it.
Write up the paperwork.
there's where it is assessment to the house. So the house is right there, and then there's the tree.
Is it completely dead?
It is completely dead, sir. As a matter of fact, there's 4 or 5 others in there. that the tops have already snapped that I'm not touching, because I know they're not coming towards the house, but this puppy is coming towards my house.
We'd have to assess it in the field.
The Fopman boy's just down the road, so we might be able to get him quick.
And I tried calling 3 places, none are interested in 2 trees. I need to take the trees down. I'd appreciate some leniency on this one, as you've seen the pictures. And, I mean, I'll call my insurance company tomorrow again. But at this point, I feel that there's, you know, imminent property damage to my house and my kids, and I'm asking for a waiver to take the trees down.
I could take a ride tomorrow to look at it as an emergency certificate.
If it's still light out, and we move, I'll go by there on my way back,
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
if it's still light out.
Yeah.
No problem.
Can't help you if it's dark. If not, someone.
The 2 trees are tagged. There's 2 red dots on the 2 red
And
flags.
I go to 99.9% of all sites.
Yep.
But this is one of those situations where you have a tree that needs to come down. It's usually an individual or a group, you know, like 1 or 2, 3 trees. And the policy of the commission is if you get an arborist letter, I mean, there's nothing that even I can say to go against it. So, you know, we get the arborist letter, it's a done deal. But, you know, whether or not you can get one in a certain time period, I don't think is really the commission's concern.
I mean, it should be when there's imminent danger to my children in my house.
Well,
That's why.
So it's a liability conversation at this point as well.
yeah, I think under the emergency
Yeah.
order, you can
Yeah.
get your trees down.
Thank you.
And the best thing we can do right now is if Brandon get by tonight, if not, Billy will contact you tomorrow to a convenient time where you both can
No,
meet
I
and look
appreciate
at
it.
it.
I work in Boston each day, so
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
No, we want to help you out. We don't
No, I
want the
appreciate
trees to
that.
stay
No,
there.
this-
So.
I absolutely understand and respect the process. I also know I have 2 kids that go in this door each day, so that's,
I understand about
All
the
right.
kids. I
Thank you.
to
Can
myself.
you give me your address?
Best contact number?
I'm happy to provide that.
Address, name, contact number.
Thank you for coming in.
I appreciate your time.
720 is 28 Waylock Road, and we,
Yeah, it ended up on the wrong agenda, so that is on the next agenda.
do we even need a motion to continue it, or is there?
No.
Okay.
Already there.
No, just put
7:20, it's now 7:35, unexpected business, 82 Central Turnpike. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Brandon and Dan went out to the site, right?
We did, I sent a memo today, this morning, summarizing the events and my thoughts on it all. Let me pull that up.
He requested the card. This I didn't get, you can't find it.
It's still filed in the miscellaneous, so that's good. Okay. I'll quickly summarize here. Mr. Maroney and I went to the site on April 24. We met the Hanleys who are in the meeting tonight. As we spoke about in the last meeting of meetings, there's a black corrugated flexible pipe. One end is at the culvert that goes underneath Leland Hill Road. When I originally went and looked at it from the side of the road, it looked like it was just pipe in the stream that you just pick up and take away. Come to find out, it's a lot more complicated than that. The pipe connected to the culvert under Leland Hill Road, and then it appears as if it was buried in the bed of the stream. And over time, my guess is that portions of it just came back up to the surface.
Move it to the top.
Yeah, it just goes up and then comes back down, it snakes up and down. And the approximate path would be about like, so I'm gonna make it yellow so it's easily visible. Okay, goes something like this. So there's a section right over here that you can see. There's a section right here that you can see. And then it just disappears. at the edge of the lawn. Okay? Then it reappears, somewhere around right here, something like that. Somewhere right there?
Yep.
Something like that, and then it daylights right here, and just discharges. Okay. All right, back to the report. Okay. Best explanation I have for the pipe is that someone wanted to make the land drier, they wanted to make it, the stream disappear for a stretch, they could have a bigger lawn. Using the most recent USGS map as a guide, which is in 1984, is the latest revision. The stream used to flow along the northwest side of the house, and I looked at historical aerial photos. Go all the way back to 1938, before the house was built, when it was farmland.
You got the aerial photos from 38,
I do. It's,
not 83.
yeah, so, let me show, all right.
They were up in a biplane.
I guess.
And I thought the technology was
Yeah,
pretty new.
So I didn't buy this. Historical aerial photos, I kinda, don't let anybody know. This is the same stream that comes off of Bill's family's land. It comes down like this, all right? Here's the house. This one's from 1979, all right? And this one here is from 1984. All right, so here's the stream that comes off of Bill's family's property. And this one, the first time this one shows up is in the 1984 revision. Okay, you go before that, this isn't shown. If you go far enough back, this stream right here isn't even shown. Yeah. So this is what the 1979 USGS map looks like. All right. And then, this is what it looked like in 1939. It was just, part field. But see this black stretch right here? That's indicative of the stream. It's probably the other stream, right here. All right, they come together somewhere in here. So if you look at the way this is configured, and then you look at the way this is configured, they're very similar. And then you go to, 1967, the house is there. You don't have much of a yard. It looks like you get a little bit of something in the backyard right here, 1967. And then you go to 1971. And here's the house. You get a little more of a front yard. Get a little bit more of a backyard, but like over in this area on the western side, it's still pretty well vegetated. And then that's it for the historical photos. Then with the most recent is 1995. 1995. And it looks it looks just like it does today, which is like that. Okay. I'll go back, I got a 1997 photo, it's not the greatest, but you can see the edge of the lawn right here in the 90s. 2001, it looks the same. Infrared. Okay. Then we get into jurisdiction and grandfathering and all that, so. So 1971, which is the year the Wetlands Protection Act was enacted, there was a little bit of a backyard, but the state really didn't start caring about wetland alteration, and certainly not buffer zone alteration until about 1983. From 1971 to 1983, people in my field called the Wetlands Protection Act from that period the Wetland Fill Act. You could fill in as much wetland you wanted. The conservation commissions just would wanted the people to
Want to know what's
have a
happening.
decency to tell them what was going on. But in 1983, everything changed, and they came up with a 5,000 square foot rule, and you had to avoid and minimize impacts to wetlands. So anything before 1983, more or less grandfathered with an after-the-fact permit, if you really want it. So we have a gap between, for aerial photography, between 1971 and 1995. That's a pretty wide stretch.
They're very fortunate.
Yeah. So it's gonna be very difficult to tell exactly when it was done, all right? I looked at the pipe, and I think as Dan and I both assessed the pipe as looking like it could go as far back as the 1990s. That black flexible corrugated pipe. Bob might know better. When was the first time you might remember seeing that black flexible corrugated pipe?
It wasn't any further back than that.
The 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I think it's reasonable to say that that was done sometime in the 90s.
Well, Brendan, I get a question.
Yeah.
We learned last week that the stream on the other side of the road, which we said is the same stream,
Of Leland Hill Road that goes through that wet meadow?
well, when we talked last week, that stream on the other side of the road, that's going underneath the road, was identified as an intermediate stream.
Yeah.
So it didn't have as much jurisdictional requirements.
Right, it only has a 100-foot buffer zone and the AWRA under the bylaw. It does not have a 200-foot riverfront area. So that's not a concern.
Right, this is still an intermittent stream on this side as well.
Absolutely. The whole system here, on 82 Central Turnpike, it's all intermittent streams. That's good.
And the real discussion is there anything we can do to improve it?
Right, so get back into my, we have some complications.
So,
There's a leach field, right, and that area right there. The septic tank is over in, I believe, back here.
yep,
Yeah.
you can almost see it there.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, you might even be able to see the caps on
yeah, now there's a shadow. But that's right there is about the approximate area. So this area is a lot higher than the lawn. Okay? So there has to be a pipe and some kind of pumping system going through here. My estimation is that the stream originally came around something like this, and at some point somebody piped it and squared off the backyard.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, all right. So from here to here, it's in a pipe, it's underground. But there's also some kind of a pipe coming from the septic tank through here, crossing, I presume, the corrugated pipe and up to the leach field.
It's
So,
just a 2-inch pipe or something like that, so.
yeah, probably, yeah, but so, and the other complication is that the pipe, if it's functional at all, it's gonna get less functional as we go through time.
I mean, Mother Nature repossesses everything.
Exactly. Shut us all off like a bad case of fleas.
Wish you could say that about the ticks right now.
I agree. But every spring, you're saying that this part of your yard, right here, gets very wet.
Mhm.
And you have a big rain or something, You said it's even flowed over into your driveway and then out to the road. So this is something that I think is more serious, is that if this pipe is functional and it's working somewhat, then it is conveying some water to up here. But eventually, it's not gonna work anymore. So then what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen to the flow once it gets to this spot right here? Because the current, it's gonna create a new channel, and the new channel is gonna go through the yard and out to central turnpike. Don't know?
And at that time, somebody's gonna have to come to us and say,
Yeah.
I wanna repair it.
I just wanted to ask them, if I could, when it rains, what do you see in your backyard? I mean, where does the water run? Does it run down the pipe? Is it running around the pipe?
So,
As it comes, explain to me, if you could,
sure.
how the water runs when it rains.
And I'll let
Where
you
do
know
s-
if I agree with them.
That's typical. I mean, that's
So
typical.
this is a shed right here?
No, start up at the road, we're across this, right there,
Up
start
here?
there, yeah.
Yeah, so I think some goes in that pipe. I
Quite a
mean, that's
bit.
only based on, I only even realized it was supposed to be, it was obviously intended to connect to the culvert, right?
It looks like it was.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
but it's
we're-
not connected now, so I think some water goes in and some goes around. The stuff that goes around ends up pooling like right here.
That's the low spot in the front yard.
Yeah, runs, when it gets too much, it runs, some goes that way, but most goes this way into our driveway and out to the road. But right in this vicinity here, there is I mean, it looks like a spring. It's a hole where water comes out of. So I assume under there somewhere is probably the end of the black pipe.
No, that daylight's further down.
Well, no, the bottom end, right? But what feeds, there is a stream here
Right.
that, the only source of which seems to be that, it just, I don't know, water just comes out of the
Yeah, the
ground.
pipe, there's a pipe that comes out of the ground.
But you can't see the black pipe at that.
Right, let me show some of the pictures.
Maybe it's broken.
So did I answer your,
Somewhat,
did that help?
a little bit. I'd like to hear what your wife had to say. She disagreed with you.
His recent
Well,
wife.
Every spring, we have a duck pond, and this week, when the rains returned, the ducks came back, because the water came back.
They come to my swimming pool too.
They'll be back on Friday, too.
They're pretty.
Yeah.
So when I was at the road, I thought this was just pipe laying in the bed, but it's not. But you see how it disappears right here because it goes under the bank of the stream, under the bed of the stream. But yet we still have surface water on top. Okay? Then you have this long section right here.
Oh, is that in a stream bed, Brandon? So
That's in the stream bed, and that's in the stream bed.
It was buried once.
Right
yeah,
in this
I mean,
section
right now,
here.
if they were to cut the pipe and just take it out, would there still be a stream bed for the water to flow in that direction?
Yeah, but then when it gets down to where it goes underground, you think that's gonna be a problem with the,
Yeah,
Would it go
great.
back- Would it go back underground?
We don't know.
I'm thinking about the erosion and the stuff running down the stream bed and,
This is the problem area right here, is that we don't know what happens
Yeah, how much water actually goes down in the pipe?
into the pipe. We have no idea.
Yeah.
So I am looking towards the house and the lawn. It's the lawn area down here that will get wet. So it comes down this hill. Oh, this is up by Leland Hill Road. Leland Hill Road again. And you can see where someone actually put stone on it to keep it from
floating them.
floating up. Like a casket before vaults. This is the area of the pond, so I'm looking, all right, let me give you perspective. I am down here by this blue ice skating rink area, looking up towards the circle. All right, and you can see the leaves.
Looks like a lot of water.
Yeah, so it comes down and then it disappears. So when you get a lot of water, it comes into the lawn. I think this is in the spot in the northwest of the house where daylights. Yeah. And then it pops out of the ground again and continues down the hill. There's a long section of snaking.
Somebody did a lot of work to put all that pipe in.
Yeah.
Not well.
Under and then
Not
back
enough,
up.
huh?
Not well.
And then it daylights somewhere around here. No, it goes underneath the skunk cabbages, and then it comes out again. And now I'm in the backyard, and I'm in the woods,
That's where all the ticks were.
yeah. I'm in the woods back here, looking towards the house, okay? And that's where it daylights, which is, it daylights, right around here. So, the big concern really is here, and go back to this.
Then it comes back out on Central
There is
Turnpike again, right?
There is a little bit of water coming out of it, but the majority of the water is going overland. Okay, so the big concern area is right here. And what's going to happen is this pipe continues to become less and less functional. It's going to keep on going over the lawn. There's no easy answer. And I don't think it's gonna do anybody any good trying to penalize anyone. It's just trying to come up with a solution, if there is one. I don't know if there's a solution for this.
Can you cut out the areas that are easy to get to and leave what's not?
Will that make it better or worse?
Well, yeah, because then would it flood more if it's, but who knows?
And what I'm afraid of is, I appreciate the Hanley situation where they want to sell the house, and I think the commission should be thinking ahead to the new owner if the commission requires some kind of remedy for the pipe, and then the new owners get in there and come to find out the situation's worse. The commission's gonna be on the hook. There's no good answer to this.
Best we can do is say that we've looked at it. There's no immediate fix for it, practical fix for it. It's working now.
Somewhat.
Well,
Well,
it appears to have some functionality.
I have standing water in my front yard right now. It's not running down the road. But
There's no good answer, so,
What's the picture look right there where it goes back in underground?
right here, let me find it. It was kind of brushy, so.
where it makes the turn and goes across the back of the yard, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty flat there. You'd have to work pretty hard to get the water to go to it.
So it's coming down the hill.
We'll get the pipe out of there, just 'cause it's
There's,
lonely.
I've never
Oh,
found.
this is the spot, this is the spot right before the yard. Someone
Yeah.
put a couple of stones on top of the pipe to keep it from coming up, and then the pipe just disappears again. To where, it has to be, down here, and then it must come up again right here, and my guess is that it's underneath the lawn, or at the edge of the lawn right here, heading towards this. So it would look something, and I'm just gonna approximate, something.
Yeah, what would
Yeah.
it, Brandon, what would it take to make that black line that you just put there functional as a culvert pipe?
What would make it functional as a pipe,
Culvert, yeah.
as a culvert? You would have to, all right, let's see. Right here, you'd have to clear this area out so you can get a work crew in. You'd have to dig some kind of a pit, and then a trench through here.
He wants to leave the pipe just like it is.
Put the pipe in there, maybe make some kind of little head wall to, some kind of,
So what you're saying is the existing pipe in there cannot be used as a culvert, as it currently sits.
You'd have to pick the grade up at the
my
inlet.
answer is doubtful. And we know so little about how it was installed, where it was installed, how much water is going through. We know there's some water going through it, but we also know that there's quite a bit of water flowing above ground as well.
For the majority of the time, it's functioning.
Right, but we know from
Oh, no.
spring storms that that's really the time that you have to be worried about, because those are the storms that create the most damage.
Are you thinking about erosion? Or
I
what's
am
your?
thinking more about any kind of new hydrological pathway that would prohibit the owners, or even be a detriment to the new owners, as far as functionality of the yard or the house or the driveway, and also changes in hydrology along Central Turnpike, because as the Hanleys pointed out, sometimes the water goes into the driveway and then out to the road. That could be problematic from a highway perspective.
I was just wondering if that water was generated because the pipe was no longer connected solidly at the road, so therefore you've got the water going around the pipe, and that's, not getting back into the pipe, so that's what's flooding their driveway or their area, is the pipe, the water that's not getting back into the pipe. And if they were to cut the pipe in
So
that
the water
area
goes,
and just pull the
doesn't go
pipe
down
out all the
toward
way
Central
back to
Turnpike, it
the
goes the other way.
road,
Yeah, then it goes down to Central.
Yeah.
Then you'd have all
And it goes
overland
around the
flow
house.
to the end of that pipe.
to the end, yeah, to the circled area.
And then,
And then what's it gonna do?
Well, hopefully it
You have
goes
to
in the
build up
pipe.
one side of it.
Right. So what you do is my solution would be create a little head wall, a little flared head wall to direct water to that spot. Have a pipe underground that follows, along the edge of the lawn here, that eventually then daylights to the stream over in this section.
But that's basically replacing all the pipe,
No,
because we don't know what's in the pipe blocking it up. Obviously, there's issues.
I don't think there's anything blocking the pipe.
It's just the fact that
The water's
Pipe's
not
lifted
getting
up,
to
so
it.
it's
first.
water-
Oh, okay,
uphill.
so the
Yeah.
water's, it's making like its own backup dam.
yeah, and it's like this now, so the water's
Thank
coming
you.
down,
Yeah.
there's no way of the water getting back into the pipe. And that's what's, potentially causing part of their flooding.
But it's been there for 20 years anyway, and
But it's presumably, or we think it's moved in the 20 years, floated and moved around,
So
so
now
that
it's not flowing properly.
it's not flowing properly.
Right.
no, I don't think it's marginal flow through it at best. If it's got 20% flow, it'd be,
Yeah, and
Miracle.
Yeah, 20% of what it used to.
could do.
I was, yeah, and
And it's only gonna get worse.
The pipe,
I agree, the stuff that's on top of the ground, and that's why I was wondering if approximately where that yellow circle is, if it was practical or feasible to
You
cut
could
the,
build a head wall there and
cut
make
the-
it work.
yeah, a little, fieldstone head wall.
Yeah.
At that, and the rest of the pipe, what diameter is it?
12-inch.
So if it's 12 inches sections, 20-foot sections,
I didn't see splices in it like that.
I've never, 12-inch pipe I've never seen as a continuous coil pipe. It's always, it's usually,
Could it be 10 then?
possibly, maybe.
But I don't remember any splices in it.
You know, we didn't take any measurements.
Well, you'd see them. It'd be
Yeah.
pretty obvious.
But I mean, the pipe's easy enough to cut with a Sawzall.
Yeah.
In how many sections you want to remove it. If it's all basically sitting on top of the ground from that point back to the highway, my recommendation, I think, is to suggest that they cut the pipe in sections and remove the pipe to approximately that area there, build a fieldstone head wall to channel the water into it. That way the water continues to go underneath the lawn and you're not tearing up what you got for the lawn there, coming out the other side.
So you're talking about trying to use the existing pipe?
Correct.
Just like it is.
Which, I think there's some evidence to believe that that pipe was functional and had been functional for several years before it started to float and create problems because it wasn't properly buried, it wasn't
I don't think
properly
it was ever a
bedded.
foot down.
It wasn't probably bedded or anything else. But I think it's underneath the lawn, I feel that it's buried a little deeper. Well, it's, you got lawn, otherwise you'd have a brown strip right across there, or a real grass strip where the water's flowing around the pipe. I mean, it'd be a little more obvious that there was a pipe there if it wasn't properly buried by, a couple of feet of dirt, or enough to hold it down.
so you're saying the first section that's pretty much yellow now, pulling that up,
No,
starting fresh.
no, take it out, throw it
I'll
away.
eliminate
Take
it.
it out.
Okay.
Well,
Leave the channel bed that's there,
Yeah.
that's gonna
Oh,
be
okay.
created as a result of taking the pipe up, leave that as your intermittent channel.
And let it
stream channel.
meet the yellow circle.
You probably have to go back 20 feet or so to make it so as you could collect the water to force it through the pipe, right? Something like that.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
There's some sections that are still under the ground, and I mean, do you really want to go through the exercise of pulling it up and creating more disturbance? Or do you just think that cutting the sections above the ground so that it's no longer connected is enough?
I'd be fine with it.
Anything you do to break the pipe
Yeah.
is a benefit.
Yeah.
And if there's sections of it that is underground and well buried, and the stream bed's leading into it and coming out the other side as a result of cutting it, that's fine. It's not to say that 5 years from now or 10 years from now, those pieces might be floating
Absolutely.
at some point.
Yeah.
But from what you've described and what the Hanleys say their front lawn looks like, I feel comfortable that that portion of pipe underneath their front yard is at least sound and stable and is not gonna float. And that if, by taking the floating pipe out of the channel above it,
Disconnecting it.
yeah, where you took it out creates the channel, so there's no other work you gotta do that way other than dispose of the pipe.
It's probably pretty, where it's loose, it should be pretty easy to cut it out with the Sawzall and pull it out, right?
Oh, yeah,
Doesn't weigh anything.
no,
Getting rid of it's the biggest pain.
I don't understand how taking that section out before it curves towards the back wouldn't create more flooding in that circle.
The idea is to find the spot where the pipe goes underground in that circle, create a fieldstone head wall kind of on a 45-degree angle so that the water gets directed to the spot
You're not
where the
answering-
pipe goes back.
You're not
underground.
answering her question, Brandon. She's asking why the pipe isn't functioning effectively.
Oh,
And it's not functioning because when it bubbled up, floated up out of the ground,
right.
it's above where the water would be running. So the water's trying to run uphill to go into the pipe.
But some of it is making that curve and directing the water out back and around. If you take that out, I don't understand why the duck pond wouldn't become a bigger duck pond and
You'd-
more erosion in,
You'd have to make a little bank or dike
okay?
to force the water into the pipe as it goes across the back of the yard.
Right.
Not a big one,
Okay,
just enough to keep the water directed towards the inlet of the pipe.
so that's what you mean by a head wall?
Yeah, so it's a field stone, kind of like a retaining wall on the other side, and the water that's coming down to the stream, it's gonna hit it, and it's gonna direct everything to that one point, and that one point is gonna be the pipe. So the water coming down the stream in that section is gonna get directed to the pipe. And then the pipe is gonna go underneath the lawn to the woods on the back of your house. That's the theory.
Hmm.
I think it's a pretty good one.
I understand what you mean. Can I, let me ask and I honestly don't know the answer to this. So that end of the pipe, can you bring up the picture where it shows the culvert and the pipe?
The
Way up at
culvert
the
leading
Dodge
to the
Hill,
road?
Leland Hill.
Yeah, so back earlier in your,
So, yeah, right, so here's kind of a
yeah,
faraway.
yeah, so the black pipe is obviously disconnected here from the culvert pipe. Is it, if the goal is to try to capture that water, all the surface water is going around that pipe because it's not connected. Is it not feasible to just connect it?
Maybe about 20%, like Mr. Maroney was saying, maybe 20% is going into the pipe.
Yeah,
We don't, yeah.
that says reasonable.
The pipe
number.
goes up, pipe goes uphill in effect.
let me try to help you out a little bit, okay? It's an illegal pipe,
No, I understood, yeah.
so we can't authorize you to leave the pipe in place. We can tell you to take the entire pipe out and reconstruct a stream bed from here all the way around your property, which means you would have to construct a stream bed through your front yard. And to construct a stream bed is not just to dig a ditch. It's usually, you dig it, you line it with stone so there's no erosion and everything else. It's a big job.
Yep.
Now, we have got a problem, you've got a problem, and that somehow that pipe's gonna come out of that. And we're trying to come up with a solution to minimize the expense on your part by a lot, not tear up your front yard, and make the whole thing doable. So, I mean,
Semi-functional.
yeah, I mean, we're caught in the middle here.
Oh, no, understood.
So-
Everybody's caught in the middle.
We're trying to compromise with you the best we can. You know, if the answer was just to make that connection up there and forget about the rest, that would be fine, but we can't do that.
Understood.
And so now.
Because it
That
won't
answers
work.
my.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work anyways, so.
So now it's a case of trying to come up with something that's, and my own feeling is that if that pipe's taken out and a collection point via a stone at the end there, that the chances of you having your duck pond is gonna be diminished considerably. Because now you've got an unrestricted place for the water to go. I truly believe what's happening is the water's running around the pipe, as your husband said, and it's got no place to go, so then it overflows the bank and runs down to your house. But once you open the pipe up, the water's gonna go down that pipe and out the other side. So, I mean,
It's
we're
compromise.
So
we're trying to make it
Right.
work for you as best we can.
So this,
I take it.
this is a schematic of what it would look like. See the gray?
Yeah.
That would be a stone wall.
That's
Some kind
expand,
of
that's
retaining.
expanded. That's not gonna be, per scale, he's off
Right,
scale
right,
there
but this is a
considerably.
general schematic, so you want it so, because the stream's gonna have high flows and low flows. So if it's out here on a big flow, it's gonna get deflected towards where the pipe is. And it's all gonna come into this middle spot, so it's gonna collect as much water as possible, theoretically continue it in the pipe underneath your yard, and then to the other side. I think that's the simplest solution. And-
How tall does that wall have to be?
Enough to direct the water into the pipe is the
Okay.
only answer he could give you.
Yeah.
I don't think it'd be 18 inches, 2 feet tall.
Yeah, 18 inches is 2 feet.
Yeah.
And it would be dirt, maybe with some rocks on one side of it. I don't think, the stone wall's not gonna hold the water or direct the
No, you
water.
can make a little earthen berm
Dike.
slash
Berm.
stone
Yeah.
wall.
You know, you typically backfill the stone, fieldstone head wall that you're talking about, you're backfilling that with dirt behind it so that it's level.
Right.
And the
you
stone
get
actually
people-
just keeps the scouring down as the water goes down there, so it doesn't wash its way out or blow it out.
Is there a sort of a correct way to, that all makes complete sense to me, except I think the pipe is just gonna fill up with junk and clog itself.
That's a risk.
I guess if there's enough
Well,
water flow, maybe not, but
Here's the problem is that it's the best and cheapest answer the commission has so far, because the other answer is that you are required to create an open channel along the edge of your backyard. And I don't think anybody wants that. So maybe,
which would cross our septic
Septic.
line.
right, exactly.
And who knows how that would work.
Yeah, nobody knows how that would, that probably wouldn't end up well, because then it's gonna be more exposed to freezing and erosion and whatnot. So I think this is a decent answer for now.
To answer your question, you can put pieces of steel if you want, dry posts in to keep large debris, but it's a maintenance issue. It's something that, as a homeowner, you or whomever would have to clean that out on a regular basis. It's no more extensive than a hand rake and pulling this trash away, but I mean, you'd have to maintain that on a regular basis, or it will just plug up like a dam and then flow back down to where your bird bath is. It's a maintenance issue, it is.
Okay.
But the other solution is to open ditch all the way across the yard, and I don't know if that's what you really want.
No.
So, if you were imagining the yellow pages, what kind of an outfit would I call to deal with this?
This is a unique situation. Landscape construction
Yeah.
company?
Yeah,
Hardscape landscaper probably, right?
it's not a,
They haven't filed an RDA, right?
John
Yeah.
Doe's Landscape Construction Corp.
So there's not any special requirements for, because they're working in a wetland, in a stream bed?
That's for the commission to decide. It's really just the end, very end of the stream bed.
We're
anyway.
trying to work this so you don't have to pay for somebody else's sins.
Yeah, I very much appreciate it.
And,
And we don't want you to
At
break
least
the
not
bank.
full price. You're gonna get the discount price?
Well, I mean,
what we'd like to see, you know, as they said, it's not a sophisticated, you don't need heavy equipment to necessarily do this. Almost any of your landscape services you could hire, I mean, all this is labor, right? And once you hire somebody, if you'd contact us, one of us will go down and meet with you and your contractor to try to make it clear as to the extent that is necessary and what we're talking about for head wall.
Okay.
That should be fair enough, I think. It's not, as they say, you don't have to hire a full-fledged drainage contractor.
okay.
Somebody that's, got a Sawzall, battery-powered Sawzall, and some cheap labor to haul the pipe out and take it away.
And if they need direction, they can call me. If they need to meet me on site to ask questions, they can call me.
Do you have any issue if I do the removal of
No.
the pipe?
No.
No, not at all.
I'd be very happy
I
to
wouldn't
see you
expect
do it.
anything else.
Exactly.
Charge up the Sawzall and that's it.
Get rid of the sections that
Yeah,
are above ground.
I'm not a wall builder, but I can pull pipe. Okay.
Do we need RDA for this?
That's up to you.
Thoughts? Concerns? Questions?
So here's the question. Is
Yes,
the
you probably
commission, is it the commission's opinion that this will alter a resource area? Is there enough functionality to the resource area to require a permit?
Going to be restoring it, near as I can tell.
Correcting the
Maintaining it,
Yeah.
that's a key
Maintaining
word
it.
there.
That it's, a notice of intent is only required when a Conservation Commission opines that there will be an alteration to a resource area. So if you don't think that there's gonna be an alteration to a resource area, then they don't need it.
This is a correction, correcting a problem that was previously created by people unknown.
Violators.
Yes, violence.
So how about, some milestone deadlines for action? So we can keep this on a schedule.
You probably want to move quick, right? Because
We're
you're trying to
Put
sell?
the house on the market at the end of the month, so, yeah.
So,
When do you want to do it?
Tomorrow?
That's fine, how long do you think it'll take?
We gotta get somebody to come look at building the wall, but, I mean.
The building a wall, okay, you get some stone, I don't care if they're square, rectangular,
I got a lot of
all right?
stone.
And
Plenty of stone.
you put one on top of the other, and you put dirt behind it,
Okay,
and you put it in a V, with the end of the V being around the pipe. Okay? And that's the extent of the wall. It's not a mason's wall, it's nothing else, all
okay.
right?
Just to direct water to that one spot.
I completely get it. I mean, it's just,
The tricky part of it is gonna be figuring out the best spot to do that.
to have the entry hole, right?
Yeah, finding that entry
Yeah.
spot's gonna be the hardest part.
So, Do you have recommendations on size though? Like how far out should those wings go?
It's a subject, it's a factor of the terrain.
Okay, so
Right.
so kind
Enough
of
to
take
catch all the
To
water.
to the top of, I know it's not it's not a very well-defined bank, but you want to have it go up to the top of the bank, because you don't want any, on high flow, you don't want any chance for the water to go around it.
to escape.
Right, skate, so you can do some ocular estimation, which is a fancy word for eyeballing.
Eyeballing it.
Okay, do some ocular estimation, usually go up the top of the bank to where you feel comfortable that even in a high flow, that's not gonna get around.
Understood.
If you're serious about taking that pipe out tomorrow, then when we get the 2 inches of rain on Friday, you can watch and see where the water goes.
There you go.
Is that what's forecasted?
Yeah.
Yeah, inch and a half,
Friday is supposed to be what, a couple inches?
inch and a half to 2.
Inch and a half, two, yeah.
Wow.
Just to make sure that, would you come back and just, I mean, I'll mark it or stake it or something about what I'm thinking and.
Absolutely.
See the guy in the end there?
Yeah.
He's the guy you should be asking.
He's in the construction
Nope.
business.
No slight, Brandon. That's what
I mean,
he,
there's-
that's what he does.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's already forgotten more than I'll ever learn. about that kind of thing.
No, I mean, if you guys are okay with me doing the work, I'm fine
Yeah.
with doing the
Oh,
work.
yeah.
I didn't know
We just want to
how
correct it.
formal.
We just want to correct
That's
it.
great.
Watch out for ticks.
It's
Moving right
impossible.
along to Mr. Rochelle.
Yes.
You know what you need to do, right?
Yes, so,
Come back in 2 weeks.
whatever you want, that would work for me.
You gonna be in town?
Yeah. Yes.
Wanda, what time on the 17th?
It's just a discussion.
Oh, that's true.
We'll just come at 7.
Mm.
We'll be here.
Well, actually,
That's
yeah,
very valuable,
I
right?
could-
Thank you very much.
I could put it
Appreciate
in
it.
at 7.
Thank you.
Okay. 7 o'clock on the 17th.
Okay,
Thank you for coming in and
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
bearing with us. 7:35, now 8:20, 140 Manchog Road.
Good.
Mark
You
LaRochelle.
got 10 minutes. Be
Make a
quick.
motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Wait a minute. I don't know what you just did, but
Wait the reading.
We'll wait the reading on 140 Manchog Road.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm back. So a little bit of a change. I think we're just gonna leave the trees alone and make things simple. I'm still interested in getting variance for the dock though, if that simplifies the process.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
Sounded to me like the commission was willing to give you a variance to what, 40 feet? And you weren't going to go over the total square footage, were you?
No, he was.
You were
Yes, by 50 feet, I think.
from, what, 300 to 350?
Yep.
Right.
It's basically one dock section.
Yeah, okay. And keep the trees. Is there anything else?
Just a clarification, the original request for sand on the beach, which you've withdrawn that request, I believe.
Kind of as, the square footage is the offset, because the beach would still be too close.
Yeah,
for-
just for clarity, I mean, he's
Yeah.
withdrawn that from it in the
Yeah.
removal of trees.
We'll make sure that.
Yeah, and here we go. Is this the spot right here within the private, is that the existing path you're talking about?
Yep.
So you come in through right here, the dock would be right there?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a very good spot for it.
And he's gonna clean that up so it's passable,
Like this.
10 feet.
No, more like arm to arm, really don't need any more than 6.
He's gonna need someplace to put stuff down.
Well, he's gonna need,
Oh,
He's gonna have the dock.
Oh, he got the
All
dock,
right,
you're
so
right.
there's a question- all right, so
he's gonna clear wide enough to put the dock in and out, so whatever the width the dock is.
question I meant to ask last time that I have a chance, second bite of the apple. So this is a temporary dock.
Yep.
The temporary docks have to come out.
Yep.
Where's it gonna be stored?
The hope was, we've talked about it, is, you know, basically, most of that area, it's so shallow there that when they let the water out of the lake, it's dry land anyway. But the intent would be to pull the outer sections in.
Leave the first section of dock there.
Stack on top.
And stack them up there and lock them down, since people like aluminum these days.
Are you gonna be stacking it in where the water is now, but is dry in the wintertime?
Right.
The short answer is yes.
Yeah, pretty much where
Does the commission have a problem with that? Because usually the object is to get it completely out of that area.
They drain the water every year.
There's no water there. Come
There's no water at all.
Feel
Columbus.
comfortable?
This is much taking them out so the ice doesn't affect them, as anything else.
Just wanna make sure.
It's
Yeah,
keeping
that
us
might be a
honest.
problem if this water comes up and then it freezes. There might be ice and it might damage it, so.
Yeah, we
That's-
had a little refreeze this year when it got higher, but there was still enough. So, you're right, I'll have to think about that. I mean, the idea of trekking them all across the street.
Well,
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. Yeah.
They're aluminum, but they wind up
Pretty heavy.
being heavy. Yeah. So I will definitely do my best to assess what the water's doing and the ice.
All right, so the current, the motion would be to allow a
Pay
waiver
attention.
on the total length and total area of the dock, and that's and cleaning up of the bank right here, this woody vegetation, the brush vegetation, the width about 6 feet.
Yeah, at least with the dock, he needs,
Yeah.
And then some room on either side of it, so when he schleps them down there.
Well, I want to be able to write on the
Yeah.
determination
Oh, yeah.
form that there was a waiver, so that can be seen by anybody in the future, and that he was allowed to clear the underbrush to a width of, say, 6 feet, right at the bank, so that you could have clear walking to the dock and back and forth. And that's basically it. Everything else is out.
How wide are the dock sections?
They're 5
5?
feet, yeah.
Yeah, so 6 feet is,
I'd give him 8.
that's up to you.
I hearing a motion?
I'll take it.
She's getting ready.
Make a motion to issue a waiver for,
Public hearing?
yep, actually to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to issue a waiver on the dock length and total area size.
2.
To 40 feet long and 350 square feet.
And
And clearing.
That's the waiver too?
yes.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's not part of the
Just a-
waiver.
It's not?
You just
Or
said the
condition.
waiver.
Okay, and then also with the condition to clear enough space for the dog.
Specific.
Yes, there's a tree here that doesn't need to come down.
Just underbrush.
6 feet, 8 feet.
Am I hearing?
Up to.
8 feet.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we wanted this on there, so when someone calls, sees you out there cutting the brush,
Yep.
it's documented, because they probably will call.
Yeah, sure.
There's no DEP number.
No DP in the law.
No DEP number on RDA. Okay.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming
For
in.
your persistence.
All right.
Thank you for
Yes,
leaving
have
the
a good
trees.
You're welcome. Take care.
7:50 PM, now 8:27, Dan, 80 Worcester Providence Turnpike, solar farm update.
I was just there. And some close pictures. Okay, this is today, approximately 6:30 PM. They cleaned, so I'm looking up the hill, right? On the left-hand side, there was a whole bunch of silt. So it looks like they cleaned it up, but they also brought in now the fill material, because if you remember, they were granted permission to widen the road, and the road is gonna be widened right to where the erosion controls are, so looks like they started bringing in some of that material. Any comments or questions on that?
does it make the erosion control non-useful, non-functioning as a result of bringing
At
the
the
fill in?
moment, it looks functional. at some point, the fill material is gonna be much higher than the erosion controls, and then there's gonna have to be an adjustment. But for now, it's functional. Then I turned around and I looked into the wetland replication area, and you can see there's a lot of leaves coming up on the bushes, so that's very good. Actually, that's not the replication. The replication area is further in. This is where the dilapidated house was, and they restored the area. They got rid of all the junk, and they planted conservation mix in the shrubbery, so that's all looking very good. Looking down the hill, towards the highway, and then we turned around and we're going towards that problem area down here. If you remember at the last meeting, I had a concern about the fact that they had this pile of fill, and it was making the silt fence with the wire back fencing, it was like half buried and leaning over, and they said, well, we pulled that back, don't worry about it. It looks like all they did was put up this second
Another one.
row.
Yeah.
And this second row is outside of their approved limit of disturbance. So I'm not in agreement with that technique. Okay. They still have not refreshed the erosion controls. What they did do, this was already here the last time I was here, but I took this picture, you can't see it very well. See, there's some green? So the grass is starting to grow out of the shrub. What they did do is they put up this semicircle right here, which is outside of the limit of disturbance. And it doesn't look like to me that they did any cleanup of the siltation that went into the wetland yet.
Yeah, they were supposed to go in with buckets and shovels, right?
Yes. Do you remember them saying if they already did it? I kind of half
You
remember.
said they
saying-
like were started to do it or
Started.
something.
But they were gonna
Yeah.
do it the next day,
Right. And I,
everything's gonna be done the next day.
Yeah.
so then I walked up the stone line channel to where the grass swale is, and I took a quick picture. Nothing's changed, and you can see from the erosion control, nothing's been done yet. I remember saying they were gonna jump on it quickly. Do you
Mhm.
remember it that way?
Well, that was a condition that they had to refresh the erosion control immediately before they did anything else.
It looks like they added some erosion control further downhill.
And they were supposed to call for an inspection when it was done.
Right.
Yes.
I haven't gotten a call, haven't gotten an email.
So it's
So,
subject to a cease and desist.
Yes, it is. Did the commission,
Is that a motion, Bob? It's a yes or no question.
Yes.
All right, I'll second that motion.
all those in favor?
Aye.
I will let folks know first thing in the morning.
Cease and desist until they call for an inspection and do what they say what they were gonna do.
Until they do what they say what they were gonna do, and then call for an inspection.
Right.
Because had they done it, the rain coming 2 days from now might have worked. All right,
It didn't look like, to me, like they had done any hydro seeding either in the solar area.
I gotta fill this.
We need one, we need another one for the, we need two for cease and
Two days.
desist.
For one maple.
170, 8:05 PM now, 8:32, 171 Worcester Providence Turnpike. How are we doing on that one?
That's Pleasant Valley Crossing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed, haven't heard anything.
The third one.
What are you gonna cease and desist? You're gonna stop the
Yeah.
grocery store from working?
No, probably not, but,
Well, any new work, I suppose, because there's no new work going on.
there is a proposal for a Part B. I think they were going to planning board. It was on one of the other agendas.
Yeah,
Is this a situation where we could issue a fine? I'm tired,
We'd have to do a warning first.
I'm tired.
We could issue a warning. and then it's a $200 a day fine, and then
What
a
would the justification for the fine be?
that they haven't installed the gauge in a timely manner.
After being asked a billion times. And,
I don't know if you can find somebody, I don't know.
Well, if
I knew
you
I'd
give, if you give the warning, and then it's a warning, and then it's $200 a day, then it's $300 a day.
But also there's the issue with the detention pond. It's supposed to be a dry pond, not a wet pond. And there was supposed to be some work, if I remember correctly, to muck that out.
Restoration work.
They did do some of that last fall, but
Still doesn't look like to me like it's a dry pond. It's definitely a wet pond. There's frogs in there, and cattails. I think that if you issued a warning, you would get them in here.
with an ultimatum, I mean, with a time limit,
With an agenda, same thought.
issue a warning. Tell them we want them in here in 2 weeks. And maybe they'll come in and have it done in 2 weeks.
You know?
Well, been asking for them, and when we have someone who used to be on the board asking us every couple of weeks, rightfully so.
And he called me
A
this past week.
citizen.
and
Citizen
we've
of the
been
town.
after them for a few months. Come
I
in,
think more than that.
Since
6
what, last
months.
summer?
last
6
fall,
months,
Yeah.
yeah.
If not last summer.
Well, we could issue a warning and say if we don't hear from them in 2 weeks, they'll start getting fines.
Alright.
Is that a motion?
I'm making a
Get that,
motion.
Wanda?
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so they issue a warning, and then they need to come in 2 weeks?
Right, so that, it's going to be very important that tomorrow Wanda sends out the warning.
Somebody's
Ticket.
gonna have to write it up.
Well, you can draft a letter, and then I can clean it up, and then you can send it out. And it won't be sent out
You
until
want the book?
Friday.
Friday. Because
Well, I don't know about that.
I'm taking advantage of the last day of dry weather this week, and I'm gonna be in the office obviously on Friday. So that's when it'll get done.
As far as the enforcement orders here, do I fill all these out?
Are the
It's-
enforcement orders or cease and desist?
It's supposed to be
cease
cease
and
and, so I'm not sure that, the cease and desist, it's not really an enforcement order,
Oh,
is
you
it?
don't, no, that's not, you
No.
don't wanna do that.
No,
Well, that's what one.
Cease and desist is just a letter.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
all right, well, you have to make up the letters.
Well, Wanda, what I would appreciate you to do, use the same standard letter that you always use. Fill out the person's, name and address and all that stuff, so I don't have to do it. And then I can create the letter and send it back to you.
Okay, so what am I doing, which one am I doing them on? now?
we're on.
Maple,
1 Maple Street.
All right.
It's the first one.
Mhm.
Second one is 80 Worcester.
Well, I thought they were gonna file a notice of intent.
no,
But it,
they're not.
Yes.
Well, they
they
are.
are,
One
but
Maple
a
Street
cease and
is,
desist.
but you're gonna make the cease and desist formal. There's a
Yeah.
verbal right now.
Okay.
Right,
You're gonna make it formal in the form of a letter that can go into the file.
Okay, and then what's the second one?
80 Worcester Providence Turnpike Solar Farm.
Okay, so that's the
That's a C,
second one.
that's a C and D.
And then a warning, right, is 171 Worcester Providence Turnpike,
Yep.
PV.
Right.
Crossing.
And what, in the letter, tell me if this is how you want it. Come to the
17.
17th meeting, if there's no response, fines will be issued first at $200 a day and then $300 a day until you do get a response or action. Is
Mhm.
that how you would
Yep.
like it written?
Fine.
Okay.
Can we put in the letter that they can have it completed by the 17th, or is that not?
That's a given.
That's up to you.
Okay.
Yeah, if
Want
they
it
wanna come in and
completed by
tell us
the
it's
17th?
done, then.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, they're better to them. Minutes, April 5th and April 9th.
Before you go any further, on the very first one, 17 Southwick Road, you did not continue, did you not close the public hearing? What are you gonna do on that?
Continued, didn't we?
Continue to, Well, I'm going there tomorrow,
Right, but.
because it's dark.
Are you gonna continue it to the next meeting, or
Well,
Yeah,
continue it unless,
you're gonna do it tonight?
okay, make a motion to continue 17 Southwick Road to May 17th.
17th? Okay, I'm just gonna figure out a time. I would say, 7:35.
At 7:35.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
And do you have Mr. Fontaine's phone number that I can grab on the way out of here tonight?
Yeah.
The minutes, April 5th and April 19th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of April 5th and April 19th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Project update, 42 Bond Hollow Road.
Oh,
Joyce
step
is
down for that.
recusing.
Yep, I got that right here.
I took a ride down Monday,
Okay.
and when I was there Monday, I don't know, 8:30-ish, plus or minus, there was nothing going on.
New bridges, constructed everything except for the bed, use the proper word for it, the actual roadway. On top of the
Yeah, roadway bed.
roadway bed. Looks like they have to pour the concrete.
They took that machine out this afternoon.
Right, so see this right here, this was the temporary crossing for when they were deconstructing the old one. So it's concrete slabs. Issue I have with this is that there's no erosion controls on this side of the stream, and there's some real erosion coming off the slope. So there's really nothing to stop it except the concrete slabs, and they're not doing a very good job of it. So I think it's, as soon as this is poured, and it's stable so they can go over it, these slabs need to come out.
Bridge deck.
Questions on that? Okay, there we go, they gotta pour that. Looking bad, a bunch of mulch on the side. We put mulch on the slope, which I think is a good thing. Looking underneath. You used the wrong kind of erosion control. See the real erosion coming down the hill? This is the same side as the concrete slabs. And then I walked up the hill to the house site, see what's going on. It looks like they also dug some trench for utilities. And this is where they daylighted for now anyway. A lot of water on this hill. The water just pops out everywhere. It's the foundation of, I think it was the garage. And with the pipe, with the perimeter train daylights, there's now cattails growing. And the other thing I did, just to show you how the water pops out of the ground. So this picture was taken right where the driveway meets Pond Hollow Road. And I'm looking uphill, this is where it takes a swing to the left. There's just water just naturally popping out of the ground. Right there, this way this whole hill is, just water just springs out everywhere. It's a difficult hill. This picture, there's a swale at the bottom of the hill that runs parallel Bond Hollow Road. It was brought to my attention that, well, number one, there was supposed to be a plunge pool at the very end. That was never constructed. But also that during high flow, the water, and I just turned around, and Joyce's daughter Jill, her property is over here. And this is the Fisher's property over here. So instead of the water continuing straight down into the Fisher's property and back into the stream, it actually takes a left-hand turn right here and onto Jill's property. I don't think that needs more immediate attention than dealing with the bridge right now, but it's something to keep in consideration as we go forward and eventually when they ask for a certificate of compliance.
Now, has the project been funded?
It has not. The issue, here's the issue, is that Shayna, a number of months ago, asked Wanda for some information. She wanted a full accounting of the consultants fund, which is me, including all my invoices since the beginning of the project, which is fine. And I think that, you know, that's
No problem.
Has she been given it?
should be given, and I directed Wanda to do that. And Wanda, have you sent Shayna Fisher that information?
No.
And I'll leave the next issue to you. The second question she had, or second request or demand, was that Ms. Fisher wanted to know the hiring practices going back to when I was hired. And how was I hired, what was...
She wanted the contract.
She wanted the contract between me and the town.
She's not getting the
There
contract.
is no contract between you and the town.
And the hiring practices per the state regulation.
Through MACC?
What's that?
Through MACC?
No,
Or
through
through the state?
something called 53G,
Oh, okay.
and also through the bylaw. Town of Sutton, the Sutton Conservation Commission put it in their bylaw that they had the right to hire third-party peer review consultants before the state even allowed it for conservation commissions.
That's
And-
part of our bylaw?
It's part of your bylaw, and
The funding for
under
state.
the state regulations, consultants are limited in their review capabilities. The Sutton bylaw expands the capabilities of the consultant. Under 53G, consultants are doing file reviews, they're doing field reviews. They're even going as far as going into meetings and drafting orders of conditions. The Sutton bylaw allows for the consultant to do work post issuance of the order of conditions, things like doing site inspections and helping with certificates of compliance and those kinds, enforcement orders and those kinds of things. So there's very little that the commission can have a consultant do at the applicant's expense.
What was the last correspondence, Wanda?
Well, hold on, with Shayna?
Our correspondence to her last, as a result of the last meeting.
Well, whenever I sent that paperwork out, which could have been last week.
What to say, is the
Oh,
question.
it was the stuff that she requested. I sent the,
No, I thought that the last meeting, we directed you to send her a letter saying that she had to come up with the funds for the inspection immediately, or
well,
else
that got
ceases.
sent out before that.
Well, whatever date it was sent out, that was the last correspondence we as a board authorized to be sent out, I believe. I just wanted to know exactly what it said.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you, my computer's in there.
Hold on.
I don't know.
I might have it. Here we go. April 21, 2017, regarding 42 Bond Hollow Road. The Conservation Commission has not received monies required per the February 14, 2017 letter addressed to you. As a result, at the April 19, 2017 public meeting, the commission voted to issue a cease and desist on any and all construction at the above referenced property until such monies have been received by the commission. Failure to cease and desist construction activities will result in the issuance of an enforcement order. Attached, you will find a copy of the February 14, 2017 letter, as well as the proposal from the Commission's consultant for ongoing monitoring on the Commission's behalf. So, that's the letter. And then Ms. Fisher replied with an email saying that she didn't think, that I'll paraphrase, she didn't believe it was fair, that she demanded to have full accounting of all of my invoices and my contract with the town. And that, what ended up happening is they kept on working.
Well, I mean, that's all well, they can
Right, she-
argue this back and forth, but until such time as is resolved, based on that letter, we have to issue an enforcement order and reinforce the cease and desist. I would think, I mean, is that what the letter says?
The letter says.
Do it.
Well, then there should be a motion.
Or discussion, I mean,
Yeah.
All of the above.
it's, I mean,
Motion then discussion.
Was that a motion Bob made?
yes.
Second.
Any further discussion on
Getting
this?
very active, Bob.
I see that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I mean, what choice have we got?
None.
I don't know.
Put it in black and white and
And that was back in April, so I mean,
Ms. Fisher, Mrs. Fisher, in her email, I want to see if
well, she's got all the right in the world to debate it, but she hasn't got the right in the world to continue to work when there's a cease and desist order issued. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Was there one issued?
Well, that letter was issued, let's rephrase that,
Want to do
which,
an enforcement order?
well, was there an actual cease and desist with that letter sent out?
that is the cease and
That is
desist.
it.
There is no,
Okay.
there is
Nothing
no
more,
state
right?
form or anything else other than the letter.
Yep.
That is the cease and desist. I believe.
So now you're gonna issue an enforcement order?
Oh, what comes next? We said that we
Just
were going
lay it
to
out.
have an enforcement order if it wasn't, I thought, reread the letter, Ben. Is that what we said we were gonna do?
Yes.
You don't think would come next would be the tickets? Oh, you got one there already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Failure to cease and desist construction activities will result in the issuance of an enforcement order.
Yeah.
I didn't make a copy of her email, but the email stated that she felt that the cease and desist should be stayed until the information she requested is received.
I sent it right away too, by email.
When? When did you send it?
I don't think it makes any difference.
Which is when?
Whatever email you sent it in.
But that was recently, right?
I think it was the same time as that letter.
Her email, in her email, she complained that she asked back in February. And she was a bit upset by how long it's taken. And it
I don't remember.
doesn't really make the commission look very good. It makes the commission look like the commission was ignoring her.
Which is
I
the
can
last
Which
thing
is
we
not
want.
the case.
I can go look in my computer and see when that came in.
Would you mind doing that, Wanda? Because I think this is kind of
I don't
important.
know.
This could blow up.
Yeah, I think
And
it will.
no one wants to stop, I don't believe, the Fishers from doing the work, but they have to do it the right way. The National Grid, the CFC,
It's good, issue it.
okay. Site visit for 11 Ramshorn
Make that
Road.
motion and get that out of our way, if you would be so kind.
We can't do
Make-
that without Wanda here.
Yes, we can.
Then you have to go over it all over again. Brandon, while we're waiting for her, on that Hardback Road thing, you were able to go by there?
I did.
You did?
Yes, I got pictures.
Okay, excellent.
I'm gonna write this down for
Because the
Warren.
health board is starting to look at that too. The Board of
Board of
Health, yes.
Okay.
They had some restrictions or requirements, and they're not being followed or met, it would appear.
Who made the motion for this, the National Grid? Bob?
Oh, no, we
No.
didn't do National Grid yet.
No, we
I
held.
made that motion.
Okay.
Well, you better wait till,
He's
I'm
writing it down.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Hardback Road, let me bring that up.
So do I go back or do we?
Hardback Road is also
You do
not
just
due.
well right there.
It's 3 years, doesn't come due until next year. But still.
It becomes an interesting point to me.
Is Hardback Road, is that the house with the,
Nope.
No, it's across from Domi's there.
oh, the one that they were doing the,
Batteries at one time?
that they had to
They
clean
used-
up a man-made wetland or something, is that the one?
No, they took down the
Contaminated
Quonset
soil.
hut and
Oh, okay,
they
yep.
Expanded the
storing-
driveways and.
Yeah, storing bleachers and stuff like that.
Yeah, they do field protection, they have these big mats for concerts and functions, so they don't ruin the grass. You tell me they do any concerts in the summertime at Fenway Park,
Really?
you know, so it doesn't ruin the outfield or the infield.
They make those right there?
No, they
No, they just store 'em.
Oh, they store 'em.
wash them.
Yeah. It's really full right now, but I imagine it's gonna get empty pretty soon. You remember there was a little sediment trap? Let me do this. I got that. Let me bring it up. I can show you the plan. Hardback. Plans. Nope. There we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, the oil boom.
Oh, I remember this.
You have this fencing right here. So that fencing is right there, okay? And then, if you're looking in just to the left, there's an intermittent stream along the property line. And they created a little sediment trap, and there's the riprap right here that's gonna handle any stormwater runoff. And then that goes down to the stream. Okay, so here's the riprap, and there's your sediment trap right here. It's not very ornate, but it's there.
That's the oil absorbent boom that we're seeing in the picture?
Looks like it. That look very functional to you?
Mhm. That was supposed to be maintained.
This is the sediment trap. How does that look to you, Bob?
Not quite up to snuff, I
No.
think. Not quite complete,
Not quite complete.
but again, they got a
So
whole.
this riprap right here is this riprap right here. Okay. Then we have this section right here. What do they say? Oh, these were the areas, that's what, part of the problem with this property is that it had potential contamination from lead and cadmium. Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah, I heard you guys make a motion. What did you make?
I wrote it down for you.
Okay.
Did you find that letter from Mrs.
I
Fisher?
found February 14th was the first proposal out for the fees. I sent the budget letter out on 5/1, which was Monday, because I'm not here on Fridays. And on 4/26 was when I received the letter, the email from Shayna.
Do you happen to have that? Did you find that email?
Yeah, I found it.
Can you print it out?
Okay.
Thank you. Right back to 9 hardback.
4/26?
Yeah. And then you walk to the back, and right in here there was a concrete head wall with a weir, and that was part of the mitigation for the project. Is they were gonna get rid of that and open up the stream. All right, so
Were they also supposed to clean the trash out of the stream and stuff too?
I'd have to look at the order conditions to remind me.
It sounds familiar.
But I have all that.
So the bottom line, I guess, is any of those things that they haven't done important?
They did take the, they took the concrete head wall with the weir out, which is right here. And I think they did a good job. There's a little waterfall right here, not much, not bad. In fact, if you go, so this area used to all be flooded, all in here, and now it's just down to the stream. And it looks like a tree fell over right here, and it looks like that's backing water up behind it. So there's more water being backed up by a tree that fell over in the stream than anything else right now. Alright, so order conditions, special conditions, and I'll just read the findings of fact real quick. Yeah, they demolished the Quonset hut. And they use it as they act as a staging area for the products that the company utilizes, namely plastic field protection mats. Then there was also an area in the back, an isolated wetland, if you remember. See this isolated wetland? Okay. This looks worse than it really is. This area was already built up. This is the area behind the buildings where you have this little isolated wetland. It was pretty thick
Here's the,
when I was there last.
that's what went out. Here's the email that I sent it with, the budget sheets.
The applicant wishes to be able to access the rear bay door, which the wetland is blocking. The rear bay door was right here, the red part. And they also wish to have the ability to go around, drive trucks all the way around the building. The Conservation Commission agreed to fill the IBW with the condition that a mitigation project occur on site. Invasive species removal was considered, but ultimately a stream continuity project was chosen as a mitigation. So in return for them being able to do this clearing and driving trucks, or being able to drive trucks around, they had to do that, get rid of that concrete head wall and weir, which it looks like they did very well. There's a shallow water quality grass swale at the forest asphalt area interface. The grass swale will have stone check dams leading to a riprap component near the discharge area. So that's this area right in here. So let's see what I have for pictures of that. Look at that. Stone riprap area, more riprap, and it looks like it just, I don't see anything really grassed up here. I see what looks like to be an extension of the stone, and then it goes into recycled asphalt and storage area.
So is that capable of conveying water?
It doesn't, it looks more like, it doesn't really. In my opinion, this is not depressed area, like an area that would collect water. Seems to be kind of above ground.
Yeah, but the drawing and the intent of the thing was to collect water and divert it down to the forebay and so forth.
Yes.
And so it's not functioning as designed.
I don't,
Yes.
this lower part with the riprap, maybe, but as you get further in this direction, not so much, and then it's supposed to continue all the way almost to the front of the rear building. I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all. I saw recycled asphalt and materials being stored right up to where the erosion control line is. And the erosion control line was the compost socks, which is at this point in need of refreshing. Or replacing, really.
Mm-hmm. But it lends itself to an interesting question.
Yep.
If that, if part of the purpose of that swale, grass swale with check dams leading down to the forebay, was to collect the runoff from their operations coming across before it hits the brook and to filter it before it goes in, do they have 3 years of operation before they have to put that in place?
Yeah, they have 3 years.
So they can operate the facility for 3 years without putting in a swale that is supposed to protect the brook from the water
Not
coming from the
necessarily,
operation?
not necessarily, because if the work and the runoff associated with that work ends up impacting the resource area without any kind of attenuation, then the commission can consider it an alteration of a wetland, unauthorized alteration of a wetland resource area. If it wasn't installed correctly. Which is, kind of goes back to 171 Worcester Providence Turnpike, is that, they were supposed to do things, maybe there's no direct alteration of the wetland resource area, but by having the detention basin non-functional, there's the chance, a higher chance than usual. So, in this case, if the commission feels that the lack of the grass swale and the so-so nature of the oil boom and the sediment trap is not doing the job to attenuate stormwater, then the commission can take action on it.
Is it or isn't it? I haven't been out there.
Weren't you gonna have them put some sort of a thing in there?
Oil absorber
Yeah,
boom.
that's right.
Right. That, we saw a picture of that, didn't look like it was.
Well, it was someplace, yeah.
I'd say that this wasn't constructed per the plan. If it was, it certainly wasn't obvious.
Have them come in.
Yeah. All right, so see this red truck right here? So I walked up the swale, and then I took another picture right at the red truck going up. And then I turned right. I took a picture. I turned 90 degrees to the right, took a picture. And then I turned 45 degrees to the left and took that picture. So that gives you an idea of where I was. So you can see the outline for the old Quonset hut right there? So this was the old Quonset hut right here. So I'd say I was standing somewhere about right there. Okay, so took that picture in the area where the grass swale should be. And that's what it looks like. So does that look like a grass swale to you? Doesn't look like a grass swale to me. What the stone is supposed to be functioning as, I don't know.
Looks like they just dumped it on top. Didn't make any sort of a swale.
Yeah, riprap, unless you put a fabric in or something else, the riprap doesn't act as a
Yeah,
swale
but
either.
It's not a depression, it's piled
That's
up.
why you want the loam in there for the swale, and the riprap just stops the scouring before it gets to the pond, or the forebay.
So the swale should be in this area right here. And it's not. So what do you want to do?
Want to talk to them about why they're operating before they have all the protections in place.
So the guy, the pre-construction, Gary Magnuson was the contact. And I have his email and his phone number right here. Would you like me to contact him for a site visit?
Yeah.
That's what I'll do, and we'll move things along.
And he's one of you.
No, he's Gary Magnuson he's not a scientist, he's a construction manager with a company called CMG.
They do reclaiming stuff. He knows better.
Yeah, he might have been with the hazardous waste cleanup people. Yeah. And then there was Jerry, can't really make out the last name, but he's with the same company. And Joyce was there as well. With
And I went a couple of times and on a couple of other visits
I'm
too.
recused right now, in case I was a citizen talking just then.
All right,
contact Mr. Magnuson.
we back.
Next.
While Joyce is still sitting up here, 1152 Main Street North routing slip for National Grid.
I went to the planning board meeting on that.
1152?
Yes.
I specifically asked if there were any wetlands, and they said no.
Okay.
Actually, I'm in a butter to that. But
So, no comments?
Which one you on?
1152 Main Street, Northbridge. The National Grid.
they're gonna put a solar facility in, but they're gonna access it across from the creamery there in Northbridge.
Okay.
Oh.
So it's partly in Northbridge and partly in Sutton. So there's no access from the Sutton side.
Let me bring it up real quick. Oh, the West
That's the
End,
one
West
near
End
Yeah.
Creamery
Yeah.
Near Walmart.
that I
Yeah.
visited today. That I really shouldn't have.
Not for an inspection.
Well, I was absolutely
He was inspecting Swan Pond.
Sure.
So it must go up, it goes up toward the dump, kind of in from 146.
It was Swan Pond. Am I missing this? Here we go. Here's this white line's the town line. Here's West End Creamery. And what's this? This is National Grid facility? I don't know.
That looks like a Walmart.
No.
No.
It's got the grids on it. That's the one that they had to partially file with us, isn't it?
No,
Before?
that's not there. That's up the next,
I think you,
Walmart's up, yeah, you might be in the wrong place,
yeah, you're one intersection off.
yeah.
I'm in the wrong place?
Yep.
Yeah, go south.
Go south, okay. This one on.
No, well,
Here, maybe?
the Purgatory Road exit.
Victoria Road exit.
That Purgatory Road is,
That would be.
Yeah,
That
that would,
is,
that
West
would
End
be the
Creamery.
West End Creamery, yeah,
Yeah,
but,
it would be, so we were there.
but I don't know what that is across the street.
It's in Northbridge, I have no clue. They wanted to put it up in here?
It's all, yeah, maybe to that part to the right of that, you see, maybe that's some solar panels in Northbridge that are already there, but
Yeah,
it's to the,
Yeah.
it's to the right,
That's
The
not
open
solar, that
ground.
looks like wood, that looks like
Well-
lumber.
oh, that makes sense, because the guy sells lumber across from, West End.
Yeah, that's a lot of lumber back there.
okay, so maybe it's, where's the town line?
I don't know what that is.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's a lot of lumber back there. So maybe-
Anyway, it's over in there.
The grassy,
So where are they accessing from?
That looks like the right area. That looks like that could be a wet area.
I think it's over to the, maybe, if that's the town line, that white line,
Mm-hmm.
so it's up to the right, I think. I don't know. I got an abutters notice for the 15 acres that I have near the dump.
oh yeah, land there.
USGS shows a wetland right here and a stream that flows through right here. So we definitely have a wetland down in here.
Well, you've got the thing here, it shows a plot, right? You got the plan.
Yeah, but I can't find my Andrews it, okay.
Existing building,
Valley Parkway.
yeah.
The little colored blobs are wetlands. The soil survey doesn't give any indication that you have
Where's the,
fully drained soils in this area.
What's the town line?
where are they gonna put it? I mean,
Wait, it's not saying.
give this to Brandon here. Or Bob here with the plan experts. Here's the Northbridge Sutton line. Oh no, what's it? This is what we were just seeing, I think.
Those
Chain link fence, existing building. But I specifically asked, and they said, no, they had a wetland scientist go out there and there were no wetlands, but wherever it was.
Did you know that solar panels glow in the dark at night? The ones on Oakhurst? You see them on.
If that's the case, I'm keeping my nose up at night because they're on the hill above me and they're looking down at my roof.
You glow in the dark anyway.
While Bob's looking at that plan, bounce around here, 11 Ramshorn Road.
So
That's to sign the certificate of compliance, and he's already filed for 9 years.
Well, still sign it until the IDA is approved. It's all after the fact work anyway.
9 Silver Ledge, extend the order.
It's the only one I didn't get today.
Okay, we'll table that.
The work, the Silver Ledge, the work is not done.
Okay.
There's no sign of any erosion control existing on the site. The bridge is, the concrete and masonry of the bridge is 99% complete. However, the fill,
No. When you say work isn't done, which work, are you talking about just the bridge or
the bridge is 99% complete. The roadway is not complete going across it. There's no gravel or anything else. There's no building preparation being done. And there's no sign of any erosion control on the site.
Silver Ledge?
Did he sell a lot?
Not yet.
Yeah, or sell it or fell it?
Sell it.
Sell it?
Not
No,
yet.
I thought you said fell
Yeah.
it, being cutting trees.
The people
That's the
back
mushroom
out.
guy. The one
Well,
I
I
saw
remember
him.
they cut vegetation, they put up the erosion controls.
Yeah, as I say, there's no sign of them now in there.
That was 2 years ago now.
And that's all they did, and they stopped now?
And they put the culvert in underneath the driveway coming in. The stonework is 99% complete
Yep.
on the thing. And there's exposed earth going across the culvert. See, you had erosion control at the toe of the slope there
Mm-hmm.
coming in? I couldn't see it.
Oh, right here?
Both sides, I couldn't see it. I'm not saying it wasn't there. I couldn't see it. It was a clear day.
That's why some places we went today that, and they, seems like everyone we looked at today had the mesh and the straw and the erosion controls, and it's all just disintegrated. I think we need to go to the 12-inch mulch filled because the straw doesn't cut it after
No,
a couple of months.
none of them are gonna cut it more than for a season.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that lasts at all is the silt fence will last, provided it don't get knocked over, it doesn't rot.
But that's also part of the problem.
No,
If it doesn't get removed.
I understand that. All I'm saying is that the wattles do not last, biodegradable wattles in particular, do not last more than 6 months. They certainly won't last through a season.
Right, that's why they need to be replaced.
Whenever you have a permit that you require that, and it's a 3-year permit, unless they close out the order of conditions, they have to renew that every year.
And that's why we want the annual inspection.
Right.
At the least,
Right.
to encourage that.
So what do you want to do with 9 Silver Ledge? Do you think it's worthy of a extension?
Not unless he comes in and explains,
Okay.
at the very least.
Got another letter, Wanda.
And it wants to state that before we can extend the order of conditions, the erosion controls have to be refreshed and.
So letter to 9 Silver Ledge. Please come in and refresh erosion controls. I'll take care of the rest.
60-62 Lackey Road.
2 Lackey, oh, Joyce and I went there today.
William, but
The erosion controls need to be refreshed. No work has begun. It looks like they might have done an initial scratch out of the wetland replication area, but there's nothing other than that is done. Site stable, but like Bob says, the erosion controls need to be refreshed. So I think you should hold off until those are refreshed, and Wanda should send a letter. So another letter. from
Same
Wanda.
letter.
okay. All right. So I think, other than any update on that map, Bob, are you seeing anything on that that's going to help us?
Only that there is wetlands in the vicinity of where they're putting this thing, so I'd have to say, yes, we want to review the drawings, final drawings.
Okay.
Or do we want to,
No.
excuse me, letter from their scientists saying that they're not going to be working in the wetlands? Okay.
Here's my little letter.
Wetlands all
Whatever those guys are.
Yeah, it might be on the front page of the
identified
drawings.
here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they told me, no
Probably
wetlands
is.
on site,
It's
yeah.
shown right here,
Yep,
and they identified it. They identified it here,
yep,
and the best I can figure is going in this vicinity someplace, right? So that there
well, it looks like they're within 100 feet.
could be, depending, I mean, they're showing us the panels here, but there's no, and this is the clearing limit here,
Yep,
is what they're showing, but there's very hard to get this to match into this someplace and know exactly where they're, and assuming that it's in Sutton, a majority of Sutton, this is the town line, right? So it has to be up in.
you wanna see this, Brandon?
Who's that?
It's where, the plan of the solar, and there are some
You
wetlands
asleep
there.
yet?
Trying.
It's not so much, the busyness isn't so much from filings, it's from people doing things that they weren't supposed to do and the commission having to deal with it. It seems that with the economy picking up, there's more activity with people doing things. So where's the town line? So some of this is gonna be in Sutton. But they show wetlands in Sutton.
And they
Alright,
told me
so-
there were none.
So,
That's
Main
all.
Street,
Who told you? There are people?
okay. Look at this Valley Parkway, what is that? Maybe this thing right here? Existing
I didn't
building?
know that was across the street from,
I know, I didn't either.
looks like there's nothing there,
Oh,
No.
across from Weston?
yeah.
If you look across from Weston,
Ledge.
yeah, there's a like a cape
yeah.
house there, and it must
Up
be
way up on the
behind it.
ledge, yeah.
Weston's across from the Purgatory exit, right, on the other
Yeah,
side.
mhm.
Main Street. 146. Existing they have an existing building right up at the corner, this can't be it. Is it LaSalle Road? Right, that's up,
By Oakhurst,
it's a little higher,
We're in the wrong area.
One exit down,
when I sit down, yeah.
maybe two.
LaSalle Road is where the Walmart is. Right.
So exit 5.
Which is, that's a, kind of makes sense, because isn't that where National Grid's based out of?
yep. Right next door, yeah.
You're a smart fella.
We've been all up here for a half hour, we figured that one out.
I whined earlier, but we kept going to West Lynn.
Appreciate your bearing with me. This has got to be Valley Parkway right here. Then you go into the existing building. And, yeah, these are, the electric line comes through here. This wetland's been delineated. This wetland's been delineated in the past. Yep, we already have, and here's the way through there. I've walked through this several times right here. Existing building right here, yep. It's a fairly new building. The wetlands here have all been delineated before and they look accurate to me, so I'm comfortable.
Okay. So I don't put anything on the letter? No concern?
Well,
Fill that up.
Are they gonna be building within 100 feet of the delineated wetland as shown there?
They don't show in those drawings, that's why I say you gotta see the completed set of drawings before you
right.
can determine that.
Exactly.
And we need to see the completed set of drawings to see if they're within 100 feet of the wetlands.
Determine within 100 feet.
Or a letter from their wetland scientist saying they're not gonna work in the area.
We have the email from Ms. Fisher.
It's up here.
Do you wanna read it into the record?
Or yeah, let me just finish this letter from a wetland Scientist. No. All right. So this was, well, we're going back all the way in the chain of command to March 3rd. Probably should read the whole thing in.
But just maybe the most recent email.
Well, it goes back to March 3rd, March 6th, March 6th again, and then on Wednesday, April 26th at 8:32 p.m., Wanda got an email from the Fishers. Wanda, we received a letter in the mail today that the commission has voted to issue a cease and desist on 42 Bond Hall Road. Per this email chain, there are open questions that we have been waiting for a response on since the beginning of March, which is cited in here. Please inform the commission of these open questions that we were told were being looked into almost 2 months ago. Again, we still have received no response to these questions, which were specific to the consultant's proposal. We are still waiting for the information aforementioned related to the commission's hiring agreement with the consultant. The vote of the cease and desist did not take into consideration that our payment was pending outstanding items to be addressed by the commission. Therefore, our immediate request is that the commission place a hold on its issuance until we receive a response to our prior inquiries. Please let us know as soon as possible how this situation will be rectified. In addition, at the commission meeting we attended on January 4th, 17, the commission mentioned a remaining balance on our project's account. Please provide us with a statement detailing our activity and balance for the property for this project since its inception. Tim and Shanna Fisher. And Wanda responded on Monday, May 1st at about 11:30, saying, I think this is what you were looking for. I assume it was an attachment.
Yeah,
with
it was the attachment to the budget attachment from the Excel, from my Excel budgets.
But it also included all of my invoices, correct?
All the invoices,
Since its inception.
27 pages,
Which was 27 pages.
just about, there were quite a few.
Yeah, I've sent more bills for invoices for this one than any other individual project.
I think we're in like number 17 or something like that.
What was the date she responded, Billy?
May 1st.
May 1st.
May 1st, because I wasn't here on Friday, so, you know, I don't really work on Friday up here, but
But did she have a legitimate request on March 1st for that information?
Yeah,
April 26th,
goes beyond that.
and then it goes back.
So she had a
There was one in
legitimate,
February.
But-
February 14th was the first proposal that went out. And the same second proposal went out on
But-
May 1st.
in her letter, she states that she requested information March 1st. And it took us
I
until
didn't-
May 1st to respond to her March 1st.
I'll have to check on that. I didn't see anything from March 1st.
Beginning of March, excuse me, it wasn't necessarily March 1st, but beginning of March.
I'll look.
It looks like that email they did ask him, and we didn't respond.
That's what it looks like.
So,
Because when I get the emails, I send them out to everybody.
I don't remember getting that one.
I don't remember seeing that one either. I'll have to look and see.
well, I go into the,
Because I think I sent the proposal in February.
And then in early March, Shayna asked for those two things, all the invoices.
I sent them.
You just sent them just this past week.
Right, but I think I sent them before
On the
too.
first. You think you did?
I'm almost sure I did, minus the last one.
Have we got a copy of that email so that if we're gonna, you need that information.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have
The
to,
Fishers are very detail-oriented people, and they're going to want an accounting, and they're gonna hold the commission to their end of the bargain. So I think that getting all the Ts crossed and Is dotted is gonna be very important
What I'll do is
when
I'll print all the
dealing with the Fishers.
emails.
I think at this
I think
point,
I've got most of them.
If you just look
printed,
at your sent emails, you could
Yeah.
probably narrow it down a lot easier.
but
You could search on the fishes.
but- Well, I have a file folder in my drop-down list where I put them all.
well, the Fishers are saying they didn't have it. and we're not easily finding it. So now I think we look bad.
Don't disagree. I think that based on this, that we have to respond to them, assuming that the first time they got the information they requested
May
was May 1st. And we have to respond something to the effect that now that you've got the information that you've requested,
I'm gonna go look and see if I can
We-
find that.
still request refurnishing of the funds in accordance with whatever schedule you had provided, and give them a deadline for doing it.
I totally agree.
So do you wish to rescind the issuance of the enforcement order?
I don't think we can.
The commission can do anything it wants.
Well, I understand, but again, to your point, that they are sticklers for details and so forth, and it's, they just got it sent, if it was just sent out May 1st, today's only the 4th,
Third.
3rd, so it's hard for them to respond and give us the money in 2 days. So we either sit on our thumbs and do nothing, or we send them a little reminder saying that, we did in fact forward the information. Now you've got until 2 weeks from now to provide the funding in accordance with the schedule provided.
Or
Or will be cease and desist, or an enforcement order will be issued.
okay.
You already voted.
So you
on
already
it.
voted for it, so then I recommend that you rescind the enforcement order and instead have Wanda write the letter saying what you just said.
Yeah, and we should get that out this month and not next month.
That should be out like tomorrow.
Well, careful.
Well, sooner rather.
Motion to rescind the enforcement order on 42 Bond Hollow Road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now we got another motion.
Go ahead. You learned.
A motion to write the letter?
Motion is adjourned.
That would be a nice motion. Make a motion to send 42 Bond Hollow a letter.
That's just business. You don't need a motion for that.
Okay.
Well, it's a motion only because in the thing, we're gonna request a cease and desist or a enforcement order if it's not applied within 2 weeks, I think.
Do you want to write anything about not supplying them with my hiring papers or contract or whatever it is?
Yeah.
You want it? Okay.
I'd like
That'll
to
be
add,
part of the response.
It's all good, it's gonna be wrapped in a nice letter covering the details. And, I mean, either we sit on our thumbs for another 2 weeks or a month, I mean, but I'm
That's
all
fair.
for trying to keep this thing going forward, and
All right, so the letter will say, well, first of all, that, we hope, we hope that the invoices satisfy,
the information provided is,
is satisfactory, but the commission does not feel that it's appropriate or necessary to supply you with the Mr. Fanoff's hiring, whatever it is. I can do a little explanation of 53G.
Yeah.
Okay, and how that works, and how the commission doesn't have to supply any kind of contract. It's the commission's choice. And being so, I can be, fired at any moment.
yeah, we don't have to tell them that.
Yeah. And that,
Does it take a unanimous vote?
you need 5/5 of the commission to, then, the last part of it will be, now that you have this information, you now have until the 17th to supply the necessary funds or cease and desist be issued. That's how,
Okay,
that's how it'll
so-
go.
did you find something, Wanda?
On March 3rd, she sent me an email asking, she said, we received the engineer consulting invoice in the mail and had a few questions. We noticed that the site visit was billed for 3.5 hours. I think that may be a typo, since the meeting was under an hour. Also, I think there may have been pages missing with the breakdown of the total estimate fees. So I must have sent them to her in February. I didn't look
That
look
one
that
I
up.
never seen, I can explain.
Um,
So, when I have to make a distinct trip up to Sutton,
Portal to portal.
yes, it's door to door. So travel time is taken into consideration.
so that's at the 3.5 hours.
That's right, so it's about an hour each way.
And
And
then,
if it was an hour on site, they get a little discount.
and that's what I wrote here, that I just got the information from the consultant. The site visit includes travel time from my office, not town hall. And including paperwork in the office afterwards, quick memo, scanning,
Disseminating the sign up
the signing.
sheet, you're right, so I get that was
So-
for the pre-construction meeting.
Right.
So travel to the site, time on the site, travel back, and then scan the sign-in sheet, and then email it to everybody. So that takes, up to a half an hour in the office to do all that.
And then she asked if there's any additional documentation detailing the total estimate fees for the project. Could you also provide that? And that's what I sent. I had sent that after that.
At this point, there are
I
no
don't know.
estimated fees for this project
Well,
because
that's
it's been
it,
going
you know.
on, there's no way to estimate it. It's been such that there's no way to estimate it.
That
So
was
I'm just
dated
asking
March.
for what I think is a reasonable amount of money that will hopefully last for a while. And I've been doing that, I think, 4 times already. And every time, there's always some kind of problem that makes things go longer.
You issued a determination of applicability for 140 Manchog Road. We need to sign that. So
Oh,
we
that's
can deal with
La
that.
Rochelle, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We need that one signed.
Subcommittee review update,
Not done.
working on it.
Yeah, that's,
I need to feed you again?
You know what? I'll bring my beautiful wife with me this time.
now, the track sheets, I did the last one. There's really not much going on. I brought them up to date, which the only thing I haven't done is have to look on Mass Land Records to see. I noticed there's a bunch of stars missing, so I just need to look on that. And usually when any come in, I put the star on there right away so that I know that they've come in. I just gotta check on the others. They may have not registered them yet. They should, but
Was there one last question? Was there an enforcement order being issued tonight?
Yeah, for 171 was
yeah,
Providence.
Okay. So I fill this out then, or does Wanda fill this out?
so that's an enforcement order.
You need to sign it.
You need to tell me what I'm doing on it. Yeah, just, well, sign it and then,
So you already voted
Figure
on
out-
it, so that's like ratifying it.
Yep.
So you just need to sign the enforcement order.
you did? I don't have
This is gonna be a smooth meeting.
That was bad. Just kept too long.
And I
Bill's
have-
losing his grip.
Some unexpected updates I'd like to give you real quick when you're ready.
Go for it.
Bronson's, Manchester Road.
That's,
Some pictures of current construction. They put down some Jew matting on the side slope
gotta be
here. This is the little minor field change they did. The left side of the house, the retaining wall and the stairs. I think it makes sense. This one's a double because this shows how the septic system on the property next door was done, and it looks great. The erosion control needs to be updated, so look at that. Yeah, so. Needs to be updated.
Now, do we send a letter out, want to send the letter out, or how does that happen?
Actually, you know what, this one, I'm just gonna call, because.
they're on top of it.
So, what's the name?
Bronson.
Yeah, the contractor.
Orlando.
Orlando. Tony Orlando, is what I think of. Right. I'll just give him a call. That's something.
One curious thing is the bottom layer there with the doors, you look right into a bathroom.
Really?
I laughed.
didn't take a picture.
There was a toilet there anyway.
They haven't asked for a certificate, right?
Well, no, they're not done.
La Rochelle. It's La Rochelle. Okay,
It's a nice lawn.
Yeah, but look at the wall.
yeah, that's, was it 292? It's right next to, Andy Mosher's.
Oh, what are they doing?
This
Yeah.
was the seminal work
Oh.
on the, view corridor. So I just wanted to check up on things, and, yeah, I was just there to really check the erosion control, but then I found some other stuff.
I looked down and saw the wall and
They,
it
they,
fainted.
they have, the split rail fence, which I don't remember being approved, but I'm not against it. The actual view corridor looks okay, but then I noticed that they either built or rebuilt the stone wall down by the water. It looks very pretty, but it was never approved, never part.
And
Which one is
the,
that?
yeah,
This was never part of the construction project, but at the same time, the limit of disturbance was down here, and this would have been lawn anyway. But, you know,
Which one is that one, then,
I forget what the number exactly.
Is that the first lot?
Yeah,
That's
close
that's
to
the one closest to Mr. Mosier.
I didn't know how I
This
got
looks
all
like
these
the
pictures.
daylight for the perimeter drain.
How did they build their wall without someone calling?
Good question.
They've got a-
There was a wall there to begin with,
Oh, was it? Okay.
but it was, you know, an old stone wall, you
But
know.
there's no way these flat stones weren't imported. And I took this just to show. So here's what the wall probably used to look like. This is what it looks like right next door. It has big sub-rounded field stones. And over here, we have a lot of fairly flat granite.
Yeah, it looks like Mr. Bankston's work.
Right, so the question is this, I got a feeling it's in the same location as the old stone wall. It looks like they couldn't have just used the same, reused the material. There's no way that happened. So.
Well,
I-
probably took it from somewhere on the site, I would
No,
imagine.
no, that's all.
I don't think so.
no,
They're
it's
too
all
flat.
Too nice, yeah. They brought them in.
And what's the sin there?
It's not permitted, it
It
wasn't.
wasn't permitted, other than that.
Rebuilding the wall.
Could have been.
Won't that wall be under, just the water? No, I guess it
No.
won't. The water's up. Yeah.
Shows, yeah, shows,
Dock was part of this, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm looking, this seems like a pretty big dock. I estimated that these sections were 8-foot sections, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lengths, plus this length right here, the gangway going from the bank down. So 8, 16, 24, 32, plus the gangway. Seems a little long. And then you get this area, so probably 4 feet, 4 feet, so 8 by 16. And I got a feeling that it's gonna be over the square footage too.
Were they approved for something larger than being, I don't remember.
I don't
No.
think, I don't
They weren't?
remember, I don't ever remember a variance.
The only other one we did, I believe, is Mike McGovern's.
Yeah.
That was the first one I
Yeah.
can remember.
That was the only one,
Till tonight.
yeah, till tonight.
I also don't remember this, I have a better picture of it. I don't know, is this, I forget if this is the 200 square foot recreation area right here. Might be. That's it. What year was that?
I would say
16?
2 years ago, I think.
It might have been the end of 2015.
Just a comment that this fellow back here turns into a pumpkin at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just saw it.
I think a letter,
289.
a letter to them saying that they probably want to come in and explain the deviations from the plan
Yeah.
before they ask for their.
You're gonna be writing letters all day tomorrow, Wanda, and then sending them to me.
Well, they won't be going out till Monday,
Whatever.
because I won't be here Friday.
Okay, any way to get Fish's letter out tomorrow?
Yes, get Fish's letter out tomorrow.
I'll try.
I'm gonna be out most of the day.
Well, are you able to send it, you're downstairs Friday, are you allowed to send from there when you're not on Concom time?
Not from downstairs, no, but I have to leave here at 12:05. So,
What time are you coming in the morning, Wanda?
9.
It's not gonna work for me tomorrow.
No, you can go out Friday.
Friday.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Wanda can send it out Friday if it gets in here.
Okay.
And then there was the property next door. Everything looked great except the erosion controls need to be replaced. Okay, so,
With appropriate erosion
right, 'cause they
controls.
used the wrong, they had to do a replacement already and they used the nylon mesh.
So again, is that a phone call from you or is that a letter?
That one is probably gonna be a letter. I can't think of, I don't have the kind of relationship with these folks as I have with Orlando.
You wanted to get that?
One thing they did use that I thought was pretty neat, they used coir logs, the coconut log.
Where is that one now?
The one next door to the other one.
Two down from Mosher.
Yeah, two from Mosher.
One's Kevin Steele, one's
One's
Porter
like
Stevens,
192,
and I don't
yeah.
remember which one's which.
198.
That's right, very good.
Yeah, one Stevens, what's the other one?
190.
Porter,
Porter
Stevens.
and Stevens, I can't remember.
Yeah.
No,
Now, what's
that's
your
the same.
problem?
Porter Stevens is
Porter
one, and
Stevens
Kevin's.
is one.
I think that's Kevin
Steele.
Steele is the next
Yep.
one.
There you go.
That
Good,
sounds right.
good for you.
I know.
I got a second wind at
They
10
need to
o'clock.
refresh erosion controls.
Who wouldn't know?
This is Lackey Road, it just needs to be refreshed. That looked good.
Wait a minute, on Lackey Road. you
Don't
keep
listen, just write down that, just write that stuff down.
Confusing me.
Oh, across from, 290, was it 290?
Blackie Road.
Road, the one we just extended for G Napolis, what's his name? Did we do the extension for Lackey Road yet?
Yes.
No,
No?
No.
60,
No.
62? No.
You said a letter to go out.
wanted them to refresh the erosion controls and
Right.
stuff.
So if anybody's driven up and down Lackey Road recently, you see that the field across the street from that property, they're doing some work. Anybody know the nature of that work? Looks like they're doing some clearing and some minor dirt moving. My question is,
Could that be,
the field
lodged up?
has wetlands on at least two sides, if not three sides. So you get the road, then you get the field, and I think you get a wetland on the other three sides. So if this is agricultural land, if it's land in agricultural production, and it has all the exemptions, all they're doing is squaring off the field, no application required. If the land is not in agricultural production, then it's a different story.
I'll take a drive by.
Because it might be.
Yes, it's, I
yeah,
think it's
so
their
under
land.
Chapter 61.
Looks, that has nothing to do,
It's gotta be being used.
has to be used, and they have to be, they look like a hayfield, so if they're selling hay,
They're fine.
they're fine. But if they're not, then there's no exemptions, and the wetland is a little bit past the stone wall, so the buffer zone's gonna come up into here somewhere.
It did look like there was some new electric fence wire that was strung. So whether they're gonna make a pasture or not, I don't know,
We have a few fill piles. Got one there, got another one down here, a little further into the woods. Wetlands down in here, probably, I'm gonna guess 20, 30 feet away. So if I had to estimate just from standing in the road, the buffer zone's gonna extend 70 feet into this area. So, yeah, Dan can take a ride by and do a little,
Do my farmer thing.
do your farmer thing. get the lowdown, that'd be great. What else we got? Anything else? I think that might be it. That. Oh, what else? Yeah, that's it, we're done.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.